Celts, the Revs, and the Bruins. Boston's home for sports is 98.5, the Sports Hub. Please leave immediate rotation. Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
NHL free agency begins tomorrow, and the Bruins have made a move ahead of the opening. They have extended Morgan Geeky forward on a 6-year contract extension, $5.5 million per season for Morgan Geeky, who is staying with the Boston Bruins. Elsewhere, Pierre LeBrun reporting yesterday that the Bruins are among the teams interested in Brad Marchand. When free agency opens up tomorrow, Panthers and Maple Leafs also said to be interested. NBA free agency begins at 6 o'clock tonight. The Celtics exercise their option on J.D. Davison. Elsewhere, DeAndre Ayton will become a free agent after a buyout in Portland. The Rockets have signed Jabari Smith to a 5-year contract extension, $122 million. James Harden is staying with the Clippers, 2 years, $81 million. LeBron James yesterday exercised his $52 million option with the Lakers. Red Sox lost again yesterday, another series defeat. They fell to the Blue Jays 5-3. Walker Buehler gave up 4 runs in 4 innings. Terry Francona and the Cincinnati Reds come to town tonight, and the U.S. men's national team beat Costa Rica on penalty kicks last night to advance to the Gold Cup semifinal. Headlines are brought to you by Catches Law. At Catches, they specialize in helping those who have been injured, not only from a one-time incident, but from a lifetime of hard work and labor. Does that sound like you? Visit catcheslaw.com. I'm Matt McCarthy on Boston's Home for Sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update in 30 minutes.
Listen to it, laugh at it, get mad at it, agree with it, argue about it. It is Boston Sports. Boston Sports. And it is all we do. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Toucher.
When has that been necessary to fact check?
And Hardy.
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
On 98.5.
Hey there.
Sarge GPT loading up.
Let me hear you say, "Boo! Boo! Boo!"
Crush me, mommy. Say my name.
I'm a robot.
I'm the son of the Pope.
I'm a goddamn drag!
Yeah, good luck, dude.
Nothing like a good tushy.
I love you, and I think you know that.
Excuse me?
Toucher and Hardy.
Watch Daddy and Uncle Freddie.
Knocking back some fun and having some fun.
On 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Let's go.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's the Toucher and Hardy program. No Fred. No Fred. No Hardy. No Wallach. I'm Joe Murray, for those who are wondering why I'm up this early.
Why? Why are you up this early, Joe?
Well, I do nights, Matt McCarthy, who's here.
You
So
buried the lead, though.
What? Well, we got Adam 12.
12 in
morning.
the flesh. They moved me from that room to this room.
Do you know how happy I am about that?
Do you know, so am I, because how many times over the years have we talked about when you were doing the Red Sox podcast, It'd be nice if we sat down together and had a chat, and now we get to do that for 4 hours. Delightful.
I agree. It is delightful.
Yeah.
That's the only term for it, the operative term. Delightful.
You got to keep things positive when you're up this early in the morning. You know, we were just talking about that. You did mornings for, 7 years?
Yeah, no, I hate mornings.
Yeah.
Hate mornings so much with a fiery passion. The only reason I am here is out of a sense of professionalism and respect for the men and radio people that you are.
Yes.
And
Indeed.
I will hate you tomorrow morning.
Yes. Tomorrow morning is going to be difficult.
I like mornings. This is my first time doing mornings since I got the night gig.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's probably been over
What?
2 years. Yeah, I haven't done a morning show.
Wow.
Didn't you and I do a morning show last summer?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
And maybe this is holiday times. Is this considered holiday time?
Yeah, we're in summer book now.
So,
yeah.
does summer book count?
Nah. Now, if you ask me, it doesn't.
Because I feel things are a little different here in the morning. I'm looking around, just different people. Ryan Beaton back there. I haven't seen you since a Bankroll Boy Saturday morning.
It's good to see you, Joe.
I miss you, Ryan.
I miss working that show. That was a fun show to work.
It was.
There is nothing quite like a Joe Murray weekend show experience.
Well, you just never know what you're going to get. Anything does go. I'm sure anything's going to go today. There is a piece of paper that people wrote things down for us to do.
It's the show sheet, Joe.
Which I did prepare myself for, but it never happens. I put something together. I just put it there in case there's no calls or, the phones break or something. I should mention that there's another man back there that I see. Familiar face to me. His name is Nick Gemelli. I haven't seen him in a long time.
Hi, Nicholas.
So, really, the only familiar face here that I know is Nick from the mornings. Everybody else is different. Adam 12 is here now.
Mm-hmm.
You're bumping all the music between the breaks.
That's what I've been doing, yeah. Producing the show.
It's different. But you guys are very successful. I have to give the props.
Thank you.
The new changes are dominating the ratings, dominating the city of Boston.
It seems to be working. Which is good.
So what are you doing?
I mean, I'm working with two old radio friends, which is good, right? It's good to have, history with the people that you work with. So that helps. Like you mentioned, we focus on the music. We focus on keeping things, at least I try to focus on keeping things positive.
Oh, positivity, huh?
Which,
wow.
Isn't always the case. Of course, it was also great that, for a solid, 3-4 months this spring, we had the Bill Belichick, Jordan Hudson story.
Oh.
Nobody covered that story quite like you guys.
We probably going back a year, really. What is it? It's we're on the doorstep of July now, right? So I feel like that was something that Fred was talking about last summer, as early as last summer. Then, of course, it blew up and made national news this past spring. So it was nice to kind of
not talking about this.
Well, we are.
I
never stop.
I will still call her Jordan.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she'll be anything else.
No.
There is the Jordan Jumpman.
Yes. T-shirt.
which I thought was very
it's clever.
Which nice little add to the studio here.
Part of Fred's menagerie in front of his board. Yes.
I've seen a lot of Matt McCarthy this summer. We imbibed at a friend's wedding.
We did.
We bonded.
Wedding of the summer.
It was the only one I've been. Honest to God, I'm 43 years old. 12, I'm not even going to ask your age. I feel like you're older than me.
I am 48.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm ever going to go to a wedding ever again.
I don't think I will. I haven't been to one in years. I hope I don't have to. Unless it's my kids. That's obviously different.
Yeah, that's what you're going to hit the kids' wedding phase.
Right.
Like when all the kids grow up and then you start getting invited to those things.
Yeah, but I don't think I'm ever going to a wedding again. I don't think there's anybody.
Nobody's going to invite you to a wedding ever again, or you're just not going to go.
No, I don't know.
Two different questions.
Right.
Who's getting married anymore? But for real.
I'll invite you someday, Joe.
Well, Matt.
Yeah.
Someday, right?
Yes, someday. We're not anywhere close to that. I'll tell you that. But someday, Joe, you're on the list.
Well, listen, I am a great time at a wedding, but
nobody better.
But I saw you at that wedding. I've worked with you a million times now this summer. They said to me, "Hey, you're going to work with Matt McCarthy in the mornings," and I went, "Oh, morning drive." So I was very interested to hear that, and then Adam 12 reached out and said, "I'm going to sit along." And
This is the first couple days.
No, whatever.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? You would be right there anyways.
That's true. Yeah.
I like to involve everybody in the show.
I like that.
Even the callers.
You say that you're fun at a wedding. Are you? Do you dance at a wedding, Joe?
Absolutely.
You cut a rug.
I got rhythm.
You got music.
This is interesting. I feel again, I'm no wedding DJ. I'm sure you've probably cranked a couple of tunes before.
2 times I've DJ'd a wedding, both as a favor.
I knew you would do that. I knew that.
But as a
resume.
favor to close friends, because it's not my favorite activity. DJing a wedding it is of all the rungs of the DJ ladder, perhaps the most thankless DJ job is DJing.
No doubt, because you're always going to have people. You're going to have the bride and groom who have a very specific playlist,
Yes.
or they don't care, but then they trust you, and then they complain about it. Like that is, I would never in a million years want to be a wedding DJ.
No, well, I mean the patrons are coming up, and they're of course intoxicated.
Yes.
And they're requesting songs, and you can't tell someone to F off because that could be the bride's sister. You don't know. You don't know.
The other
That's
thing is,
always the move. You want a song played at a wedding, you go up and you say, the bride has requested.
yes. Oh, yeah, that's the move. Also, people just request all the songs, and you just have to play it anyways.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I do feel at times you do have to play to the age of the crowd.
Oh, without question.
For example, if you're just going to play banger after banger after banger, Well, where's the brown-eyed girl? Like, where's the slow dance, Where's the Lone Star, baby, I'm amazed by you every once in a while, I don't know where that came from.
The old heads. What you're saying is the old heads need to have something to get out of
Because
the dance floor.
they're sitting there all night, and if not, they're eating cake and drinking coffee all night,
Right.
And I feel bad that they're over there, and then I want to go sit with them.
What is a good wedding supposed to be? What's a good wedding reception supposed to be? It's supposed to be a party, right?
Yes.
Everybody's supposed to celebrate. And if you got a bunch of people on the sidelines, that's not a good look for the bride and the groom.
Somebody in chat, which I love the chat, by the way.
No, nobody's in the chat more than Joe
I'm in
Murray.
your guys' chat.
I was going to say, we're constantly amazed by the fact that at 6:30, 6:45 in the morning, here comes Joe Murray into the chat on YouTube.
I wake up, and I go in there to see what's going on. People are already calling us a disaster, so we're off to a great start.
Good.
Because there's the deal. If people hate you, they're listening. Right? That's the one thing I've learned here.
Paying attention.
So we'll see where this disaster goes. Somebody did mention that they're going to go to more funerals than weddings. I agree with that.
Now you're in that phase of life
Now,
there, Joe?
no, now we're getting morbid.
Yeah, people are dropping dead on you.
Yeah.
Like your 40s? Is that what I have to look forward to?
Well,
Mortality?
40s is more about like it's what are we going to eat for dinner? What to eat for dinner, and what time are we going to bed? Like, what time do you go to bed?
9.
Okay,
9 every night.
So I had one of those. Took a nap at like 7:30 to like maybe 11, and I was doomed. I was
Wait,
up all night
last
long.
night you took a nap at 7:30?
I worked on Sunday.
Right, yeah, you
So
were on
I
yesterday
was
from
on
10
till
to 2. Yeah.
I went to a barbecue yesterday. My friend Sammy Pease, for those who may know Sam Payanovich. It was great. I could give you a lineup
This
of
guy
the
buried
food.
the lead. He was at a barbecue yesterday.
Yes.
Let's hear it.
It was a fantastic masterpiece of pork, burnt ends. He made this bean dish that was just baked beans, but had chops of apple in it.
Oh.
And I got to tell you, this was the best baked beans I've ever had in my life.
I got a question. What kind of apples did he use?
So I don't know. There were a different sliced. I don't know. I just ate it and it was amazing.
Could you
Macintosh? We're going Granny
I was going to say,
Smithy,
could
or
you
what
tell
are we
me at
going?
least
Yeah.
red or green? Could you at least give me like sweet or
I
tart?
think it was red.
Okay.
I
But
think.
you don't know 'cause
I
it's
can
mixed
find
in
out.
with
I
the
have a
beans.
photo.
Right.
I have a photo. There's
You
with
have
that.
to show me during
Are you
the-
an eyeball guy that you could just eyeball it?
I might be able to. I like apples, so
Detective
I might be able to
work
figure
here.
it out. Yeah.
You like apples?
Yeah, I do.
How about them apples?
But
That was
set you up for that one.
that was bad. But yes, I went to a barbecue. It was outstanding. The other thing too is I'm not ashamed. Like if someone's like, "Hey, the food's ready," I'm grabbing the plate and I'm getting right up there. Now I know
So
you guys are.
you're first in line.
I don't want to be
No,
first.
this checks out.
I don't want to be first in line.
But you are.
But I didn't really know a lot of people. Okay? There was a few people I knew there. Besides, it was just me. And everyone's like, "Hey, who are you?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm Joe. How are you?" And then I just happened to be in the kitchen when the food got brought out. I just happened to be there. And so they were like,
stalking it.
and they were like, yeah. And they were like, "Hey, everybody go get a plate." And I was like, "All right. Well, I'll just go get a plate." And I just started making my plate. And I sat down at a table. I was by myself while everybody else was going. Everyone sat with me. I had dinner with everybody. It was fantastic.
Well, it's a barbecue. It's not like it's a formal meal. Like there's a different rules of engagement with regards to eating. You know, if you were sitting down at a formal meal,
This was a barbecue.
this is a barbecue. So yeah, food's out, grab a plate, fill it up, and tuck in. Why would you wait?
Now, I will tell you, yesterday was very hot.
Yes, it was.
So Sammy was manning the grill, and I'm telling you, I would have worn a different shirt. I would have had to change shirts. It was a hot day, man. That's another thing. If you're the grillman on a hot day, can you really enjoy the food at all? Because you're trying to entertain everybody else and feed everyone else.
No, you got to rotate through.
Yeah.
That's the way you got to have backup there. If you're hosting and you want to actually socialize, you got to rotate through.
You're right. You got to have someone to be able to say, okay, I just put this on. I'm going to step away for the next 10 minutes, grab a bite, talk to some folks. You need to flip this at such and such a time, or move this over here or over there at such and such a time.
Someone brought a cake, and I believe it was from some North End. I don't know which
bakery?
one of them. Million.
Sheet cake?
It was definitely a sheet cake.
Okay, yeah, we got a lot of people to feed.
And unfortunately, as I said, when the food came out, I happened to be there. When the cake came out, I didn't happen to be there, and there was a line, and I just was like, no. So I got lucky with the food.
Yeah.
But I did not get fantastic.
Yeah.
But I did not get any dessert as our TV is just popping off.
It's popping off.
Does that creep you out,
6:15 in
by the
morning.
way, that NBC Sports Boston can control what's going on in this studio at all times?
Yes.
They are the Sports Hub Big Brother.
You ever notice this button, this board over here moves?
Yeah, well, I know why it moves, because those boards talk to each other. That makes sense to me. But Joe, you could go there right now, pot up the microphone.
I see it.
And you can turn it on yourself.
So I can see this thing behind Nick that goes to our jock lounge. It's like this little crease.
Yeah.
Well, there was a piece of paper that was moving from the air conditioner or whatever. So one night I'm here. We're here at night. Nobody else is here, by the way. There's a million people back there. No one's here. And I just saw this piece of paper flying back and forth. And I'm like, so I took a photo of it. I'm like, what the hell's going on back there? But I really thought there was something going on in the studio. I'm trying to think. Dorchester had a vibe.
Yeah, a creepy one.
Brighton, I don't think I had a bad vibe about Brighton.
No, I like that studio. Good building.
That was the old BCN studio.
Impossible to get to, but yeah.
When did you were you at? When was BCN? Was that first on your list or second on your list?
Second. So I started at FNX.
Lynn.
I did. Yeah, absolutely. Right down there in Central Square in Lynn. I was there in the late 90s for my first stint. That was fun. Let me tell you, downtown Lynn, overnights. Oh, Tacos Lapita.
Oh, baby.
Right on the corner there. Chorizo burrito.
Oh,
give me a side of green and a side of red.
Was Arifo Sullivan's then, or is that a little bit later on?
Maybe a little bit later, but no, that was my second stint at FNX. Was Tacos Lapita. That was when I was there from like 2009 through like 2012 when they went off the air. But that was Joe. You'll appreciate this. So I had lived in between those two stints. I'd worked at BCN, but I'd also lived in Albuquerque, New Mexico. For 3 years, almost 3 years.
You and Bob Sosi.
Yes, I'd become a real Mexican food snob. So I moved back here, and for the 2000s, tried to find a decent Mexican place with mixed results. So I start working at FNX again in 2009. I hadn't worked there in a decade pretty much. And I asked one of the promotions guys, I'm like, well, what's around here? I mean, I know the Capitol Diner's still there. I drove by that. I can go and I can get food there anytime. But what else? Give me some other restaurants. And he gives me this and that. And he goes, there's this Mexican place on the corner, around the corner. It's not that great. I'm like, Mexican place? That's what I'm interested in. He goes, I don't think you'll like it. So I go over there. I'm like, it was as good as any. The burritos there were as good as anything I got at any of the mom and pop places in Albuquerque. And that became my lunch place 2-3 times a week.
I love that.
Still miss it.
I don't know if Matt McCarthy's ever been. Have you been to Lynn before?
Yeah, occasionally. South Shore guy though. We'll watch
That's true.
Lynn.
Yeah, maybe maybe there's an event. Maybe imagine if there was a Boss cover band in Lynn.
Yeah, I would go. No, a cover band?
Have you ever seen a Boss cover band?
No. I've seen Springsteen 16 times. Do I need to see the cover band?
I know he's the Springsteen guy. Yeah.
I give him his credit. I love Alice in Chains. He loves Bruce Springsteen.
Yes. Well, I'm over with you on that.
But you can't see Alice in Chains anymore, obviously.
Well, you can.
Cover band,
it's just
okay, but
different singer and
the cover band might have something for you.
You must have been over the moon with those 800 Springsteen albums that got dropped over the weekend.
I'm still going through them. All right. So here's.
You're not going to listen to all those songs.
No, I will.
There's no way you're going to
eventually.
listen to all those
I have a decent enough car ride, but you'll find this 12.
Fair.
You'll appreciate this.
Yeah.
The problem with dropping 84 songs and 7 albums in one day is it doesn't work for this era. It does not work for the streaming era. I want to be able to take my CD out, put my CD and the CD player in the car, and listen through to the album the way the album is supposed to be listened to.
Sure.
But everything just rolls through, and you're like, wait a minute, is this album?
Right.
Is this the next
when
album?
When did we switch over?
Because it's just an 84-song playlist.
Yeah.
So now I need to be scrolling through to kind of try to see where the album starts and where it ends, and, okay, what is this supposed to feel like? I want a CD player, the way it should be, the way an album should be listened to.
I like that.
That's what I need.
I like
Does not work for 2025.
Adam, remember when you could get the Columbia sets?
Oh, yes.
Mark your listings.
Absolutely.
And send them out.
12 albums for a penny.
I don't understand how they made money.
I don't think they did. I think that's why they're not around anymore.
But we were talking about this the other night, but we used to use, friends' names.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Man, I had every CD in the 90s back then. Like the Verve, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like I had
Urban Hymns.
It was all just that
great album.
That was it Marcy's Playground? Just that again. I'm 43, so you got to understand that. Like,
there's a lot of overlap between you and I musically. I've heard you talk about music before.
Yeah.
I know you're a big grunge guy. I know you're a big
grunge
Alice in Chains guy.
Rap from the 90s.
But exactly that golden era of rap.
Golden
era. De La Soul, Public Enemy. Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah, and I was more of a mainstream rap, but I was the end of NWA and Drama, and I loved it.
Yeah,
I was locked in, Matt. And I still, you've probably seen Straight Outta Compton and all these, but I feel like that was the era. I know there was a concert that Nick went to this week.
Oh yeah, we'll have to get into that later.
A band called Brand New.
Oh, he was at the Brand New show?
That's right. I only knew of Brand New because I had a friend who played in an emo pop punk band who opened for a band called The Starting Line.
I know The Starting Line.
Opened for Brand New.
Right on.
And I hung out with them all and didn't know that they were like going to be like gajillionaires.
Yeah.
Or millionaires.
Probably millionaires.
Yeah.
To take some time off.
But at the time, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which I'm curious, like, is there a timetable for that? Like,
depends. It shifts and changes too. So
well, I heard the ratio was 5 to 1 women, is what I heard, Nick. I don't know if he's even listening to me. He's not.
Shocking. So you're getting the Nick experience this morning.
I've had the Nick experience. Let me tell you. Anyway, so there's a lot going on in sports, guys. You guys went to bed. Did you see there's a big signing?
Which one?
Well, we'll talk about that. And the Red Sox.
Did I see there was a big signing? We'll find out.
We'll find out. And I had a chance to work with Tyler Milliken yesterday, one of the baseball boys. And we did a lot of baseball talk. And I watched Walker Buehler suck again. So we'll get into what happened last night. Adam 12 is here. We got Matt McCarthy. I see Beaton. I see Nick Gemelli. And I see the intern who told me his name.
His name is Cam.
Cam. And he goes to UMass.
That's right.
And that's all I got. And we're going to break. I'm Joe Murray, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Change your life with Dr. Matthew Lopresti at 1-800-GET-HAIR. Toucher and Hardy, Joe Murray, Adam 12, Matt McCarthy. Walker Buehler on the mound yesterday for the Red Sox. How do you think that worked out?
Here's Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And the Blue Jays go back-to-back. First Barger, then Guerrero, and in the blink of an eye, it is 2-0.
Progress, guys. Walker Buehler only gave up 2 runs in the first inning compared to 5. How about that?
Well, what's his average now in the first inning? I think it's like 7 runs the last couple of games.
It's not what you're looking for.
Baby steps.
What's going on with him?
He sucks?
Well, he's got demeanor. How's that? He's got demeanor. He cares.
Yep.
He deflected an injury. I don't know what that's about. Cora doubled down on it. This is a guy they gave $20 million to, Matt.
Yep.
This is someone that in the offseason, when they want to sell you that they're spending money and want to be competitive about playing in October, this was someone that was a proven track record, right? Someone they're taking a flyer on. And again, when I say he has the demeanor, he'll give up a home run but settle down for a little bit. And then, so I see the talent. My only thing is at this point, you're not going to DFA him. Do you put him on the DL or the IL and just say, figure it out, kid, we'll talk to you after the All-Star break? Because at this point, he's hurting the team.
So much for demeanor, Joe.
Everybody will be on the move, and it's ball 4 to force in a run. The third walk given up in the inning by Buehler, and the Blue Jays now lead 4-2.
No, that's not good.
Presence, demeanor, doesn't matter at this point. This guy's cashed. He's washed. And I don't know if it's partially him. I think it's probably partially the Red Sox pitching program where everybody sucks here and they go somewhere else and they're really good. Look at Quinn Priester with the Milwaukee Brewers, who's been great since the Red Sox dumped him there. So I don't know what this is, but all I know is it isn't working. So I guess we have to ask Alex Cora, you can't keep doing this, right?
You have to start thinking about Walker's spot in the rotation. Not right now. Yeah.
Now, we're not going to look at Walker Buehler's spot in the rotation right now. They're not going to make it to the All-Star break, guys.
Well, if you look at it, of their problems, is it Walker Buehler or is it the offense?
It's all of the above. They can't hit. They can't pitch.
They can't
Their
play
manager,
defense.
They definitely can't play defense. Actually, speaking of not being able to play defense, Craig Breslow went to the Hornets' nest yesterday.
I heard about this.
In the Nesson booth. Hey, Craig, why do you suck defensively?
Guys who have been in the system and have come up, what they're doing in the big leagues is really just a symptom of what they've been instructed to do and taught to do in the minor leagues. And so over the last few months, we've seen that our out conversion in the minor leagues is not very good. And it's a credit to the PD staff to take a hard look at that and change the way that we're training and change the priorities and what we're focusing on and what we're giving feedback on.
Translation, Craig Breslow, the minor league system and the minor league coaching sucks here.
But I thought it was his decision to do this.
Decision to do what?
Okay, all right. It's insulting that Alex Cora, who is a great middle infielder in his career, that they're the worst defensive team in baseball for 5 straight years, right? For over the last 5 years, they have the most errors in Major League Baseball. Year in and year out, they're one of the worst defensively. They could probably blame Devers if they wanted to, but this year you can't. Okay, worst in baseball. So I feel as though when Roman Anthony let the ball go by him in his second game or first game, whatever it was, they were out there taking a shot at the front office about their style and range and things of that degree. So now Craig Breslow is now saying that the minor league system is flawed and is a problem. So who is it? Is it Breslow? Because Cora certainly is trying to do what he can at the major league level. Who's controlling this at the minor league level?
So it's the right message. It's the wrong messenger. Breslow is the person responsible for the minor league system. Now, he's not the farm director, but he's the general manager. He's right to say that they're not coaching these kids at the minor league level. That's been apparent. And this issue predates Breslow in the organization. This is his second year on the job, though. And the fact that it's taken him this long to realize this is a problem. Yeah, you're not coaching these kids fundamentally at the minor league level. It's because you and your front office are too obsessed with the analytics, drive line, that type of approach, and you're not teaching these kids how to actually play baseball. I'm glad he said it. The only problem is it kind of can't come from him because you're the person responsible for this. And when I hear Breslow say, well, this is essentially a problem at the minor league level, dude, that's on you. That's on you, but it's somebody else's fault now. This is Craig Breslow in many ways passing the buck. That's what everybody does in the Red Sox organization. It's not my problem, Alex Cora. It's not my problem, Craig Breslow. It's not my problem. Whose problem is it exactly? Because this thing isn't working.
I think the kiss of death was Craig Breslow saying that they're going to be better without Rafael Devers. I'm sure that's back there, Ryan, for those who haven't heard it. But, Craig Breslow said that they were going to be better after the Devers trade. What are they now? 4-8 without Devers?
3-7, something like that.
Oh, might be. That's not good though. Right?
No, it's not good.
How many runs besides take the 15 out? How many have they scored?
Not many. It's not what you're looking.
So now
for.
what, Matt? Like what's next? What's next?
Well, what are you going to do at the deadline, Craig?
We have financial flexibility, no doubt about that. But the trade deadline, you have to behave differently, and teams behave differently at the trade deadline than they do in free agency. Mostly in that money alone isn't the only way to get players. But the flexibility does give us the opportunity to take on contracts, take on players. And so we intend to be aggressive in looking for upgrades. And the more paths that we have to do that, the better.
How do you like that, 12?
I think you played the wrong cut. That's Brad Stevens from last week. That's not Craig Breslow from yesterday, right? The financial flexibility. Isn't that the
most important thing in sports?
I see. Someone listened to another general manager's press conference and said, ooh, that sounds smart. I'm going to say my version of that.
When you say we intend to be aggressive, like I intend to lose weight, right? Like
You've lost weight, Joe.
I know, but
You're looking good.
I intend to get a good night's sleep, right? I intend not to eat before bed. Like I intend a lot of things.
I intend to be entertaining.
So what I think they're going to intend to do is they're going to lock up Bregman and tell everybody, hey, this is what we did. And you know what? Everyone's going to eat it up and be like, wee, Bregman. So basically the money that they spent this offseason, Matt, they sent it away to the Giants. So really, any of the money they spent this offseason, they didn't spend right now, right?
Yes.
Is this where we are?
Yeah, pretty much. But it's not about the money, according to Craig Breslow. It's not that the Giants took the full $254 million in the contract. It's actually because the players they got back, guys, I don't know if you've heard this, they're actually really good.
There's so much that goes into a trade, especially like this, and it's always really hard to know how much is negotiating and posturing and how much is reality. But no, it wasn't any one factor. It's a combination of all of those things, and we really like the players that we were getting back, and you talk about those a lot, and you go back and forth and say, hey, this guy needs to be part of the deal, or it would be great if we got this guy, but I think there's maybe a deal here still if we don't.
What?
What?
You guys have been doing this a lot longer than I have, obviously. Was it surprising to you that Craig Breslow popped up on the broadcast yesterday? Does this seem to be, because I've heard your shows, we've talked about it on this show, about Breslow insulating himself in his role, about the Red Sox management levels shedding people leaving, people being fired, Breslow having kind of a small circle. When you set things up like that, it's difficult for a lot of the outside noise to get in, a lot of the messaging to get in. But there's been a lot of that over the last week and a half since the Devers deal. Yep. Do you think this is a sign that some of that's starting to seep through and get into that tight circle that he has?
I think in the last week you've seen the Craig Breslow image rehabilitation tour.
So I was going to say, Adam 12 just sitting laying back, listening to us take, and he's sniffing something out.
Yeah?
Saturday, he had a one-on-one on the field with Jared Carrabis of the Section 10 podcast.
Oh,
and it was it private or was this like a public thing?
I would say it was a publicly private conversation.
Okay, so to explain, Jared's talking to Craig Breslow.
Okay,
and you can hear the mic. Jared saying, "I still believe you guys can make the playoffs," and I don't know what Breslow was saying, like whatever, but then. You're saying the timing of it all. Now he's in the hornet's nest, as you call it, with Dave O'Brien, who was
O'Brien went after him.
I gotta give him credit. Not to mention, he also took a shot at the Red Sox when Rafael Devers was at the plate, and he goes, "Oh, both things can be true. You know, he was a bad teammate, and they wanted to save the money." I am wondering if this is that was planned as a let's look good here, because the one thing I could say about Breslow, he's got the ear of the owner.
Yeah,
he can call the owner and be like, "Hey, what's going on?" Or the owner can call him. There you go. See? Smelly. All I'm saying is the team is playing really bad. They made a franchise-altering trade, we'd call that.
Yeah.
And they're literally falling apart. And Cora, for a little bit, looked good, but then he loses his cool and gets, ejected 2 games in a row. Who's to blame? Like, at this point, that you're right. They're passing the buck.
It's what they always do. It's the sign of a bad organization. It's the minor league coaching. They're the problem with the defense. Well, no, Cora, the roster is the roster. How many times have we heard him say that over the years? In the end, who is responsible for it?
You're right. I think Breslow was in there yesterday as a, hey, look at me. I made these trades. We're working on, look at all these young guys.
You know what I noticed about yesterday? Craig Breslow was kind of talking a little bit more like a normal human being. You didn't hear as much of Breslow-ish.
Maybe there's been a little PR coaching. Maybe the PR coaches had a sit-down or two. That's
Just a
the thing
little
that
bit.
can happen sometimes.
That being said, though, there was one other comment that definitely irked me. How about this?
Teams tend to operate differently when there's this rigid deadline in place, and you tend not to get, a team's best offer right up until the 11th hour. And so teams have learned that by holding on, you can typically get a little bit more.
Why did you trade Rafael Devers in the middle of June?
Yes, 6 weeks, more than that, really, before the trade deadline, right?
You can
7
get more.
weeks.
You can get more at the deadline. Why is he gone?
Sorry, I heard the robot there. What? That was.
Were we just talking about him sounding more human?
at the deadline? More at the deadline? You're right. That's literally hypocrisy. That is being the hypocrite. How's Jordan Hicks doing? What's the other guy that they got?
Kyle Harrison.
How did he do the other night?
Not great.
Yeah. So that return that they got.
But it's a great return. I don't know if you've heard Joe. Breslow told us himself.
So you got something for us coming up in a bit on some Red Sox.
Yes, we'll come back to the Red Sox after 7 o'clock. I have a little exercise.
I was ready to crush the Red Sox.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Big Sox takes. No, I have a little exercise for us to do. It's going to be fun because we all like to have fun here on the Toucher and Hardy show, no matter who's in here. It's going to speak to your interests, Joe, and it's going to speak to your interests as well, Mr. McCarthy. So we'll come back to more Red Sox thoughts at 7 o'clock. For that.
And again, that big signing last night, huh, Matt? I teased that a little too
Huge
early.
signing.
Huge. Can I just hear that crush the Red Sox one more time? Because
That made my morning.
I felt it.
Yeah.
I was ready to crush the Red Sox.
Hulk smash.
I agree. You know what? I felt it. I felt that one.
We
Ready
like
to
that
crush
one.
the
It's one
Red
of our
Sox.
favorite clips.
All right. We'll get a look at the headline here with Matt McCarthy. Adam 12 is in. I'm Joe Murray. Sorry for everybody hearing my voice so early in the morning, but it's going to be a lovely day here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
All right, Morgan Geeky staying with the Bruins extended last night, 6 years, $5.5 million. That comes ahead of the start of NHL free agency tomorrow. Pierre LeBrun reporting the Bruins, Panthers, and Maple Leafs are interested in Brad Marchand. NBA free agency begins at 6 o'clock tonight. The Celtics have exercised their option on J.D. Davison. Elsewhere, DeAndre Ayton will become a free agent after a buyout in Portland. The Rockets have signed Jabari Smith to a 5-year extension, $122 million. James Harden staying with the Clippers, 2 years, $81 million. Red Sox opening up the series tonight with the Reds and Terry Francona. After yesterday's 5-3 loss to the Blue Jays, Walker Buehler tagged for 4 runs in 4 innings pitched. And the United States men's national soccer team beat Costa Rica on penalty kicks last night to advance to the Gold Cup semifinal. Headlines are brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com for 15% off your drive-through oil change at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, the official oil change of busy people. I'm Matt McCarthy on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update in 30 minutes.
You're listening to Toucher.
8-5, the Sports Hub. Adam 12's here. I'm Joe Murray. From nights to mornings, Matt McCarthy is Marathon Matt. Whenever you need him, you call him. He's here.
Reliable.
And what else happened last night, Matt?
Bruins made a move. Morgan Geeky extended 6 years, $5.5 million. You like it, Joe?
Okay. I did not like the Bruins' reaction overall this weekend. Fans. I hated the press conference at the end of the year. I hated it. They boasted about, I'll let you know if a coach doesn't want to be here. Well, you were the last team to find a coach. Now you got Marco there. The draft, we'll get into that too. Right? Oh my God,
I liked it.
I liked it. I liked it because the auto pick worked. They auto picked best available, right? It worked. Now Morgan Geeky's locked up, and you just paid a guy off a career year. But everyone's very happy. Top 6 guy. Look at his age. 5.5. That deal's going to look great down the line. They paid a guy off a one great season, one great run. What do you think Morgan Geeky was going to get heading into this season?
Not this. Not $5.5 million over 6. No way.
So that's where I stand. Do I think they should have kept him? Yes. Do they have to pay $5.5 million? Yep. But I just look at it and say, overpay for a guy that had one good year and a contract year.
Typical Bruins overpay for a guy who they know and they like. And you know, in fairness to them, they actually didn't overpay a lot of those guys. Marchand was not overpaid. Krejci it might have been a little overpaid. Bergeron certainly was not overpaid. That era of Bruins players were not overpaid. But this is the Bruins becoming comfortable with somebody and saying, well, we're not going to let that guy go. Really, it's the devil they know compared to the devil they don't know, and that's the way they've operated for years and years and years. So, Don Sweeney, what are you going to do over the course of the next few days?
Again, you won't know which players are leaving their current environments. Some guys sign, today and tomorrow and the following day, right up until the free agency period begins. Ultimately, you try and forecast who's available and what players would be leaving their current environments, but even typical rumors of sign and trade aspect of things that people are executing right up until the final buzzer.
So here's the question. Tomorrow, Brad Marchand becomes available. Are the Bruins going back to Brad Marchand?
He doesn't want to come here.
You sure about that?
No, I'm not.
Does whether he wants to come here or not matter? Because does it at his age, this is the final contract he will sign. Isn't that what matters, Joe? Isn't it that who's offering me the most money?
I think.
But will that? And then the second question: will that be the Bruins?
Well, did he bet on himself? Yep.
Yeah.
Is he going to cash in?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely is.
They were around $7 million, which I hated at the time. Like, what?
So how do you feel about Brad Marchand at 3 for $8?
Out. On a good team, he's a great player. On this team, he's old, and he has bad hips, and he's not a leader. Is that easy to say? Do we need to see it again?
Would you bring him back to be captain?
Matt.
Because Matt, you re-signed Brad Marchand. He's your captain, right?
By the way, did you notice on the jerseys, both guys had A's? When they unveiled the jersey, they had McAvoy and Pasternak with A's.
I noticed that.
No C's. I feel like we've done this show before of athlete gets traded. Could he come back? Remember John Lester?
Yep.
When was that?
2014.
I'm having date from 10 years. Matt, we've done shows from 10 years ago.
Yep.
Having this same discussion.
Except you should have re-signed Lester. And
Yes.
you should not re-sign Brad Marchand.
They lowballed him, right? What was that deal again?
672, wasn't it? Wasn't it 6 years? 72 total.
4 for 70. I
4
think.
for 70.
And he
Okay.
got 6 for like 160 from the Cubs or something.
So it was
like that.
4 for 70 was the initial offer
Yep.
they made to him.
And that was their final offer. It's laughable 11 years later, isn't it?
And then they traded him, and they got
Yoenis Cespedes.
Which
They flipped for Rick Porcello, which actually
Cy
worked
Young
out well.
Award winner.
I was not
Rick
happy
Porcello.
about that because I was a big Yoenis Cespedes guy, but who wasn't?
A total
you know?
cannon in the outfield.
Yeah,
We got a
absolutely.
rocket for an arm.
Yeah.
You don't know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah.
Was it Dongcello? Was that who it was?
Dongcello.
Didn't he give up the most home runs in a year?
Many dongs.
Yeah.
He was the king of the dongs.
Dong King.
He was. But he won a championship, though, right? He helped them?
Yep, 2018. It's actually somehow their best move, trading one of the guys they never should have traded. How about that?
And John Lester is going to be a Hall of Famer. So, potentially? Potentially.
Probably not, but he was one of the better pitchers of his era. Morgan Geeky's not headed to the Hall of Fame, Joe. I'll tell you that.
One other take on the Morgan Geeky thing.
Brad Marchand is.
Here's the thing on Geeky. I do think that David Pastrnak became a different player when it was Lindholm and Geeky. Clearly, Geeky's game raised. Lindholm were expecting a bounce back season. That's another reason why I don't like the move. That's their top line. Geeky, Lindholm, Pastrnak. I guess it's a fine top line. Your fourth line's solid, right? You got Hustadinov back. Remember when they traded for him? You should have seen when we did breaking news. I went, they have signed. Oh boy! Try to say that name without knowing it. Yeah. Anyways, so you got Beecher. It sounds like he's going to be back. Conroy had that last night. Mm-hmm. They just haven't given the details yet. But they got about what, $15 million? You know, without the reported Beecher deal. It's
So do you
16.
want to spend 8 of that on Brad Marchand?
No, I don't.
12?
No, I don't, but I think they will.
I think they will, too.
I think, and believe it or not, I mean, that what Joe pointed out about the jersey reveal is a bit of a tell. That's absolutely a quote-unquote subliminal message they're sending. Hey, we need a captain.
He's sellable to the fans.
Yes, and they need that, and this team does need that right now. That is something that this team needs.
And that's where you get in trouble.
Right.
Do you know, he said something.
Well, that's what bad teams do, right?
Correct, yeah.
He said something. The station broadcasted all the Stanley Cup games, and there was a really good interview with Billy Jaffe and Brad Marchand on the radio after the game. And Marchand went on to say, this wasn't supposed to happen. Kind of like I wasn't supposed to be in Florida. Mm-hmm. Some things fell apart. So I think he was getting traded no matter what. I just wonder if there was another plan. And with everything going on with the Red Sox and now Pittsburgh, I know there was a rumor this weekend about Sidney Crosby potentially being on the move. I heard that there was a Marchand Crosby connection potentially to Colorado. So I'm wondering if that's what he was hinting towards. Just I feel like the Marchand thing, he's probably got money in Florida. He knows he can get the money in Boston. Why would he come here? Wouldn't you rather try to get another team to pursue him and maybe have a part, kind of like a package deal? And maybe him and Crosby, I think a team could be interested.
Because he wants to cash in.
Yeah.
He should go to the highest bidder. This is his last contract. He's got his name on the cup for a second time. That is a legacy thing for him. If the Bruins are the highest bidder,
that's where
he'll come back.
Yeah.
If Toronto's the highest bidder, he'll go there. If Florida's the highest bidder, he'll go there. This is his last chance to cash in for a player who was underpaid for years. And it will be an overpay wherever he goes.
All right, well, we'll talk more about this. We got Connor Ryan coming on later. He's great Boston accent.
Yes. Big Duncan's guy.
Where on the Tom and Quincy scale is Connor Ryan?
It's thick.
It's like an 8 on the Tom and Quincy scale.
I'd say it's accurate.
I would say, just from being from Boston, and I think I know this, but he's definitely Southie.
How do you feel about that, Hyde Park Joey Murr?
Joey Murr feels like he definitely has a Southie Boston accent. I don't know. Have you ever been able to tell where someone's from?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I always could point out. I live on the North Shore now. People say, I'm not a North Shore guy. I'm from
but
Boston.
you live there, yeah.
But I know when they're from the North Shore.
Oh, of course you do. And I grew up on the North Shore, same thing.
But you can also you can smell it.
Smells a little south. I'm wafting some Southie.
What does it smell like? Like a Woodman's
I don't know,
fried clam?
but
Is that
kind of?
Yeah.
With a little tan and tattoos. The South Shore is a little more highbrow, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, definitely.
A little more.
Smells like Duxbury escargot.
Yeah.
Smells like Hummerock Beach.
Love me some Hummerock.
Venus Pizza.
I'm plugged. I went to this place called, is it Green Harbor out there?
Yeah. You're talking Green Harbor or Snug Harbor?
Green Harbor Lobster Pound, baby. I got a lobster roll there. It was a big boy.
You a drawn butter guy or a mayo guy?
Hot butter?
So I'm a hot buttered guy.
Okay.
But I got to tell you, no fries, no onion rings needed.
Just the roll.
Just the roll, baby. And it was big. I like myself a big lobster roll. All right. Now we're in it. We're adventuring. We have a game next that Adam 12 wants to do. It's about the Red Sox, so we got that coming up next. We got Matt McCarthy, Adam 12. I'm Joe Murray, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Group station. Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Right, a move for the Boston Bruins. They have extended Morgan Geeky ahead of the beginning of NHL free agency tomorrow. It is a 6-year contract extension worth $5.5 million. Elsewhere, Pierre LeBrun reporting that the Bruins are among the teams interested in Brad Marchand's services should he hit free agency tomorrow. Florida Panthers, of course, a contender there, as well as the Toronto Maple Leafs. NBA free agency begins 11 hours from now. Celtics have exercised their option on J.D. Davison. Elsewhere, DeAndre Ayton will become a free agent after a buyout in Portland. The Rockets have signed Jabari Smith to a 5-year contract extension, $122 million. James Harden staying with the Clippers, 2 years, $81 million. LeBron James exercising his $52 million option yesterday with the Lakers. The Red Sox lost a series again, this time to the Blue Jays, a 5-3 loss yesterday behind Walker Buehler's effort, 4 runs in 4 innings. Alex Cora said he is not considering reevaluating Buehler's spot in the rotation just yet. Terry Francona and the Cincinnati Reds come to town tonight, and the U.S. men's national team beat Costa Rica on penalty kicks last night to advance to the Gold Cup semifinal. Headlines are brought to you by Catches Law. At Catches, they specialize in helping those who have been injured, not only from a one-time incident, but from a lifetime of hard work and labor. Does this sound like you? Visit catcheslaw.com. I'm Matt McCarthy on Boston's Home for Sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub, your next update in 30 minutes.
Here we go.
Boom. I win. Boom.
Yeah.
Get somebody.
We've got a passion for Boston sports.
Get angry.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
It's called rising and grinding.
Start your
Got
day.
your finger on the pulse, Fred.
Begin your
Seldom
day
right and never wrong.
right here. Is that Dutcher or is that Hardy?
I know, looks like a poodle. It's an effing poodle, dumbass.
The Sports Hub.
Now the 2-strike pitch. He got him to end the ball game. Jeff Hoffman strikes out the side in the ninth to pick up his 18th save of the season, and the Blue Jays win it and take the series and head home on a winning note.
All right, back here at Toucher and Hardy. No Fred, no Hardy, no Wallach. Instead, you get Joe Murray. Adam 12's to the left of me and Matt McCarthy. Ryan Beaton's running the board today. I know you got something coming up here in a minute here,
Yeah.
Adam 12. But Pat and Pepperell, I mean, I think we should take calls if people
Yeah, of
want to
course.
call in.
Yeah.
Pat's on the line. Hey, Pat.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Morning.
My point is two things to consider. Marchand's family's up here, whether they like it or not, that's something to consider. But then the taxes. I mean, if Boston or Colorado or Canada come in, even a couple $1 million over Florida, there's no taxes in Florida. He's making more money there. So that's just something to consider, guys. Thanks.
Good point. I just don't care about that.
The tax thing always comes up in conversation when this topic comes up on sports talk radio stations. I never hear the actual athlete talking about that.
No.
I only hear sports talk hosts, sports talk callers. It's interesting to think about, but does an athlete who makes that much money really take that into consideration? Seriously? They consider it somewhat, I'm sure.
I think the NHL is the only league where it comes close to mattering because it's a hard cap league.
That's fair.
So, if you need to come in at 4% over whatever somebody else, you can do that in the NFL. You can do that in just about any other league because a cap space can be maneuvered in a number of different ways, as we've discussed.
Heard that before.
Not in the NHL.
No.
It's which is the beauty of the NHL from a sports fan's perspective. It's straight. The cap is $84 million or whatever it is at this point. I couldn't tell you what the cap is, but it's $84 million. You get $84 million to spend, and there's no funny business with it. It's probably the one league that should consider taxing, that should consider salary cap and tax ramifications, just because I think the Canadian teams in particular are at such a disadvantage. And there's one Canadian team in every other sport, right, for the most part. But in the NHL, you've got 8, 10, something like that. It's probably the one league that should consider it.
Just on Florida, real quick with Marchand, they gave Bennett 8 years. So can they sign Marchand? They probably got to lose someone at some point. I don't think they're moving on from their goaltender anytime soon.
2025-2026 season projected to be a $92.4 million salary cap in the NHL.
And that's real money.
Yeah.
But he comes to Boston, Matt, and then he's going to have his own cereal, right? And then maybe he'll get a show on Nesson.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, maybe we can hook him up somewhere at one of the lobster roll places. We can. I think he can do all right.
Retires here. He hits the country club with his old teammate Tuukka Rask. He becomes a local celebrity.
There's more earning potential for Brad Marchand here outside of the actual
That's a good point.
contract.
And I think in hockey, that is a sell.
Yeah.
Yes. For, you're going to a hockey market where you are recognizable, and let's be honest, Miami is not a hockey market.
No.
All right. Well, thank you for calling. 617-779-0985. That's the first time I gave out the phone number this morning. I remember this show didn't take calls or doesn't get calls. What's the deal with something about that?
We take calls. We just don't get many.
Oh, okay. Well,
until we do. And then all of a sudden we'll hit on a topic and the phones will blow up.
Well, listen.
Joe invites you.
You can... The other night, some guy got upset with me because I let callers ramble. I didn't let him ramble. So he got mad, and I said, you know what? Ramble on, sir. I don't know what he said, but you can ramble enough.
That's the night show. You can call in, say whatever the hell you want, get your 3 minutes. Meanwhile, somebody says to me, you're not letting me talk. The first thing I do is I drop him.
That's right.
My show, not yours, jackass.
And I know you guys have played a bit before where some guy called me. And then he had to let me go.
Oh, man, I got to let you go.
Which Matt always says, Joe, you're supposed to let them go. And I say, well, Matt, this is where it gets interesting.
Is it?
Sometimes it does.
All right, man. I got to let you go.
Thank you, Ryan Beaton. We use that from time to time.
Yes.
It was, when I say we, I mean myself and Ryan, when the guys in this room are getting a little long-winded and we're now 5 minutes late to go into break.
We had that with Leon Poe, if you remember. He used to do color commentary when Max was out.
Yeah.
And he'd always be like, let's wrap this thing up.
All right, man. I got to let you go. I think I'm going to go with McDonald's.
All right, 12. What do we got?
Okay, so actually, Matt McCarthy, to set the table for this, put this current Red Sox roster on your scale of this has got to be one of the worst teams they've fielded offensively, defensively, pitching-wise in, a decade.
Yeah, not entering the year, but where they're at now.
Where they're at now.
No doubt about
yes.
it. This is 2012-esque.
Yeah, it's historically bad. It's like top 10 bad over the last 50 years. So it got me thinking about that kind of historical context. And what I'd like to do as an exercise is I'd like you to have, and I have it handy too, the current, which is actually, this is interesting. If you pull up the current Red Sox 25-man roster with stats on the ESPN website, it gives you the team leaders across the top, batting average, home runs, RBIs, on-base percentage. Yeah, it's all Rafael Devers. So you traded away the guy who led every single category, offensive category that matters on your team. You went and traded away to dump salary, which is cute. But what I've decided to do is I want you both, do me a favor. I want you to pick, I'll start with you, Joe, since you're hosting today. Pick a year, 1987, 1988, or 1989.
Let's go 89.
89. Matt McCarthy, pick 1987 or 1988.
I'm going 88, Morgan Magic.
Okay, so what I have here are 3 packs of junk wax Topps baseball cards.
Oh, look at that.
I love the rip. I love the rip cards.
That's why I brought these in. So you said 89, correct?
89.
All right, there's a pack of 89 for you.
All right.
You went 88.
88, baby.
I'll have the 87. We're going to break these wax packs on the air, and we're going to see if between the three of us we can't put together a better roster with junk wax players from the late 80s than the Red Sox have currently.
I like this.
In 2025.
This is a great bit.
So, first of all, you're the breaker here. Do these look legit? I bought these on eBay.
Yeah. These are
they don't look like
legit.
they've been resealed.
Can I chew this gum that was in this packet?
So I will tell you this. I have a friend up in Peabody, Fresh Pulls, that has Jesse. He saves the gum.
Okay.
So I will let him know that if he wants some gum, we have some. But yes, the way to open them is like this.
Yes.
You want to show it from the back, so it's kind of like a shadow.
Right.
Of
Right.
I didn't follow direction well. I'm already 3 steps
Okay.
ahead.
It's okay.
Matt McCarthy,
so excited
when's
to
the
go
last
through.
time you broke open a pack of baseball cards?
I must have been 10 years old.
You were a big collector, I'll bet.
Believe it or not, no, not baseball cards.
Interesting. All right, so Wow. Well, right off the bat, I have a hit. This is crazy. And I know I'm doing this the wrong way, Joe, because I watch a lot of these unboxing.
Yes, I do this with Card Vault every Tuesday.
I got the 87 Ricky Henderson with the Yankees.
Oh, wow.
Look at that.
Here we go.
That's got to be worth a couple of bucks, right?
There's your leadoff hitter right there.
So there's your leadoff hitter right there. So already we're on track to put together a better roster than the Red Sox currently have.
Well, I have Doc Gooden, who is pretty good, right? Doc
Not
Gooden.
bad, and it's you're 89, right?
1989.
Okay, so this is later in his career.
He won.
This isn't the 86 guy.
He won 18 games that year. Which was
the year before.
The year before, yeah,
right.
sorry,
So in 88.
That's right.
I think I'd still take him over half of our current rotation.
Outside of, I would take him over Crochet.
Yeah.
Right now, I would take him over Crochet. Yeah,
at his height.
Yeah,
but that's a good
24
start there, Joe.
games in what 86 was it?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we got Doc Gooden on the pitching staff. That's not bad. We got Ricky Henderson as a leadoff hitter. Who do you got in your pack there?
We've already run into a defensive alignment problem, gentlemen. Because I pulled Mike Greenwell.
Oh, 1989. What did he? What year is that? 80.
So this is 88.
Is he rookie?
No, he would have
84, I believe, was his rookie year.
No, so 87 he played 125 games with the Red Sox. So this is his essentially entering his second year after he batted .328 with 19 jacks in 1987 for the Sox.
Sneaky good lifetime. He was a lifetime 300 hitter at a time where you didn't get a lot of those. What did he play? 14 seasons, I think, for the Red Sox.
Probably not even.
Yeah, batted 300 for his career,
12,
I believe.
12 maybe? Yeah, that's right. He was a 300 hitter career. By the way, what's your, hold up your card so we can see. I want to see the 89 motif. The 89 motif had like the banner kind of on the bottom, right? What's the 88?
Yep.
Yep, that had the nice border. I've got the wood paneling. You remember the wood paneling?
Look at that. That is sharp right
from the
there.
87. Yeah. Looks like your basement if you grew up in the 70s or the 80s. All right. Oh, would you look at that? I've got Terry Francona as a player.
Hey, welcome to town tonight.
For the Cubs.
You should
look at
send
that.
that to him.
It was his second year with the Cubs. I don't think we'll be using him on ours. Oh, I've got our relief guy right now. I've got a guy that you can bring out of the bullpen. He can give you a batter. He can give you 3 innings if you need him. I got Jesse Orosco.
Oh, baby.
Wow.
Who pitched a million seasons, most of them with the Mets, but I think pitched for like 18 other teams as well. I'm nominating him for a bullpen spot.
Well, I have our closer in John Franco.
Oh, wow.
Pitched forever.
But he's on the Reds, John Franco,
Okay.
not the Mets, John Franco.
Okay.
But he would be the closer. I also have World Series MVP Kirk Gibson.
Wow.
Coming off of his World Series, because you have 89 over there,
That's
right?
correct. He hit 25 home runs in 1988 and won a championship.
So we've got absolutely have Henderson and Gibson as locks in the lineup.
No
so
doubt.
That's good.
We're building a good pitching staff.
We certainly
Because I have
are.
Fernando Valenzuela.
Oh, very good.
Look at that.
Very good. Was that his? So that's 8. You have remind me. You have the 88.
I have 88.
So is this his last year with the Dodgers, and then he starts moving around?
Yeah. So I mean, his ERA goes up to 3.98 in 87.
He
We're trending in the wrong direction there.
He ended up with the Orioles and the Padres, and I feel like a couple of other teams too. I've got a guy who, in a couple of years, is going to be a World Series winner. Tom Browning of the Cincinnati Reds, and this is his, I think, 3rd or 4th year with them. So he's a rotation candidate because I'm trying to think of what were his stats for this year. He won 14 games in the year before. That's not bad.
I have somebody who is very important in Red Sox history because they made a trade for him, I believe, in 1990.
Okay.
Larry Anderson.
Oh, that's right.
Jeff Bagwell.
Yeah.
Right.
So that might have been 86, I want to say.
No.
When was that Jeff Bagwell trade?
90.
No, the Bagwell trade was in 90. No, but we just talked about this last week. It was Bagwell and Schilling as prospects they traded. And I feel like maybe it was for him, but I feel like it was for somebody
I don't think
else.
Schilling went in the Larry Anderson deal. Went somewhere else.
Okay. So we're talking about 2 different deals. That's fine.
As far as former Red Sox, I have Spike Owen.
Owen.
He would probably, is he better than Trevor Story?
Yes, everybody's better than Trevor Story, Joe. Yes.
Batting 249 in 88.
I'm a little biased because that's like right in my wheelhouse. Like these cards were very much like what I was 10, 11, 12 years old. So I was like prime baseball card collecting age when these particular Topps packs are out. And I loved me some Spike Owen. He was a Red Sox, I don't want to say folk hero because he wasn't that level, but he certainly was someone that you liked watching when you were a kid. I got Terry Mulholland with the Giants.
Ooh.
Of course, he would go on to have some success with the Philadelphia Phillies. Hell of an arm on Mulholland. I'm nominating him. Some role.
I think he belongs in the rotation.
I think so, too.
We're building a good pitching staff because I have Jimmy Key.
Oh, great pitcher.
Absolutely.
Coming off a 2.76 ERA in 87.
He's with the Jays. He's going to stay. He's going to be on their World Series teams in the early 90s, or does he move on?
Along with the great Joe Carter.
Oh,
there we go. World
Red
Series
Sox
MVP.
killer Joe Carter.
So our 3-4 is Kirk Gibson and Joe Carter.
That's not too bad.
It's better
Where's
than
the
what they
Gator
have
hitting
now.
in this lineup?
I'm probably batting him third or fifth. I'm probably putting him in the mix
Gator
there.
might be 5 because he's protected.
Yep.
You could put him in the middle of the left, right, left if you want, Matt, or the right, left, right.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of late 80s Red Sox, the great Joe Sambito. I'm not saying he should be on the team. I'm just saying I got the card. We'll just leave it at that.
A lot of left-handed relievers. I got Greg Matthews in here. And just Jay Howell. There's a lot of guys that I think would be better than some of the bullpen guys the Red Sox have.
So we've got we definitely have Spike Owen maybe even leading off. Or
Ricky Henderson is
I'm
leading
sorry.
off.
I'm sorry. I forgot.
No,
we got Ricky leading off. So we got Ricky. Maybe we slot Spike Owen into the 2. We've got Joe Carter and Kirk Gibson 3-4. Mike Greenwell. At 5, I'm saying we got Wally Backman with the Mets. I don't know.
Is he our catcher?
What do you think? What do you think about Wally Backman? I mean, he's a middle infielder.
Wait, who am I confusing him with? Not obviously Wally Backman.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, he's a borderline guy. Candy Maldonado, I might want to put in the outfield. I was always a Candy Maldonado fan. That's kind of what I've got left in my pack as far as who's valuable. Everybody else here is pretty junky.
Mickey Hatcher, that 281 career hitter. We need an infielder. Maybe put him there. He's better than anything the Sox would have it.
Look, we've already got 1 through 5 that is better than the current Red Sox 1 through 5.
And a badass starting rotation.
We got a hell of a starting rotation.
Doc Gooden, Valenzuela, Jimmy Key.
So I would say that this exercise was a success. I think between 3 packs of late 80s, 87, 88, 89, junk wax Topps baseball cards, we're able to build ourselves a better lineup and a better starting rotation than what the Red Sox currently have in June 30th, 2025.
We did not need analytics or a computer.
No.
You know, the thing about every one of these cards is every single one of these guys is hitting like 280 for his career.
Joe, I wanted to point
Greg Gross,
Joe, I don't know
hitter.
if you were paying attention when Matt opened his pack of baseball cards. Shows the kind of guy he is. He was looking at the backs. He wasn't looking at the front. He didn't care about. He was looking at the stats right away.
Tell me
right away.
I don't care what you look like. What are you hitting? I go right to the batting average.
So I'm going to tell you the new era. This is junk wax, which
Yes.
means they made so many. So like my Mo Vaughn rookie card is worth 24 cents.
Right.
I thought I was going to retire with the Mo Vaughn rookie card.
MVP.
It's worth way more than that to me, Joe.
Now, the Ken Griffey Upper Deck 1989, if it's graded a 10, it's worth big money.
Yep.
But the centering was off. You know what the weirdest thing about that card, too, is? Here I go into my card stuff. But they had a little diamond on the back. Well, sometimes it wasn't centered.
Oh.
So if you had a perfect card and sent it in to get graded, they'd hit you with a 9. Because that little diamond on the back.
Interesting.
But with breaking cards now, we only care about the fronts.
Right.
Nobody cares about the back. We care about the parallel. Is there an autograph on it? And what's it numbered to? Mm-hmm. That's it. None of that stats on the back.
I have a little issue with the whole, one of one. Is it, though? Because there's 18 different one of ones.
I have a Chuck Norris 1 of 1 Century Pop. It's the only one ever made.
Okay.
Every time I go to a show, somebody always makes mention of it. I have a Chevy Chase.
See, that's a true 1 of 1. What I'm saying is you get Paul Skeens 1 of 1. Yeah, but then there's 18 other versions of a Paul Skeens 1 of 1. So it's not a real
problem.
1 of
is
1.
that there's so many different releases.
Yeah.
There's Tops this, Tops Chrome, Tops this, and then Donners. Anyways, it's real nerdy, and I love it.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed.
And I thought this was an excellent exercise. And again, we did not need analytics, or computers.
No.
Just paper and our imaginations.
Going going to stare longingly at Mike Greenwell's stats for Elmira in 82.
Well, great job, Adam 12.
Thank you.
You hit it out of the park, my man, and, well, you hit home with the cards. And Matt is very happy because he gets to look at baseball cards again. All right, well, take a quick break.
I'm going to hang it up for the rest of the show, guys. Have a good one.
There's lots. Yeah, no, but hey, is there I've never been to the cafeteria here.
It's good.
I think one of the bits I may do is I might.
You have not been?
No.
Wow, I've been here for how long?
Order
Just as long
something
as
for the
you.
man.
No, what I'm trying to say is I think I might do a review.
Okay.
Maybe this week.
Yeah. I think it's a good idea.
I might get down there.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll do a live play-by-play. I'll call in or something.
Okay.
All right, we'll hit a break. There's a lot of NBA stuff going on.
Yeah.
Celtics, LeBron. We'll hit on that coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Zone. All right, back here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
All week, Joe, huh?
I am here Monday through Thursday, and Friday is 4th of July. You know, Matt, again, how many years I feel like you and I working on a 4th of July?
Yeah, every year for the last 10 years at least, probably, Joe.
Guys ever? I know we're going to talk sports, okay? I get it, sports.
Do we have to?
But
we just did.
Do you? That's right.
Red Sox. Baseball cards.
Great bit by
Thank
Adam 12.
That was fun.
I just sent it out on TikTok. I'm on TikTok.
What's your TikTok? Plug it.
At Joey Murr.
Okay.
Joeymurr. I like to post things on TikTok, but I'm not a TikToker.
Yeah. You create. You don't consume.
Yes, and just so you know,
some people consume and don't create.
That's what it's about. TikTok is just an infomercial. That's all it is. It's doom scrolling of stuff that they think is in your what do you call it?
Interest.
No, but what algorithm?
Yeah.
Thank you. So like if you like baseball and you like Bruce Springsteen, you're only going to get baseball Bruce Springsteen algorithms. Get it? Last night I was doom scrolling watching people at the beach with a stick. It's a basket stick.
I thought you didn't consume. I thought you only created.
Well,
Joe was consuming in that moment.
I do both.
Okay.
I am a habitual.
So we've gone in 30 seconds.
I was say that line moved real quickly.
From Joe not consuming anything on TikTok to being a habitual TikTok consumer.
I will say this. I watch the videos are very interesting to me because they're educational and they're soliciting. And I am a buyer and a seller. So yes,
I'm a sniffer and a licker.
There you go. I'm a midnight toker as well. Anyways, I was going to say I had this thing the other day where my phone tells me that my storage is full. And I'm like, all right. And that little thing pops up, your files, whatever. And I see in my files Matt McCarthy overture in my phone. And I'm like, oh, this is from years ago. And this brings up another thing where I have spoken about said musician or actor,
and they die.
Oh,
yeah. Joe is the Grim Reaper.
I am the Reaper, but
I didn't know this about you. This is interesting to me.
But this one here, when it came to the Beach Boys, there was a summer when we were in Brighton where Star Road Drive is always a mess, and 4th of July is the fireworks, and
of course,
well, they had the Beach Boys down there, and Matt McCarthy. Not happy about the Beach Boys being there. Why, Matt?
Because they prevented the playing of the 1812 overture. I just want cannons. I want to blow stuff up on the 4th of July.
I'm with you on that. But here's my question. When you say the Beach Boys were there, you could mean one of two groups because there were the Beach Boys and then there were the evil Beach Boys. Because
well, which one?
Because here's the problem. I don't want to get too far into the weeds with this, but you had Mike Love, cutthroat, bad guy. Brian Wilson, angel, good man, great songwriter. Rest in peace. Over the years, all sorts of litigation. Mike Love eventually wins the right to tour as the Beach Boys. So that's probably who was there, because that actually is on brand for Mike Love. Oh, you play the 1812 Overture every year here on the Esplanade in Boston while the fireworks go off? Not this year.
No, California.
I'm Mike Love, and I'm here, and we're going to do our full Beach Boys set because I'm Mike Love, and it's all about me.
Yep. They knew the rain was coming. We had the Beach Boys. They canceled the rest of the show. No overture. Very sad.
And then how many years later?
Brian Wilson
no longer with us.
Many years, Joe.
So
there's no connection between that.
So you're going to take accountability for the Brian Wilson.
So what happened was 12 to do a Joe Murray translator here for a second.
Yes,
is Joe and I were on 2 weeks ago, whatever it may be, and we did Greatest American Rock Bands or rock acts or whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
He said, "Who is the greatest American band of all time?" And you need to answer this as a layperson. If this were Family Feud, what is the response?
Okay.
So the first thing I said, thinking as the Family Feud responded, Beach Boys.
That's a good answer.
Joe Murray immediately said no. Brian Wilson drops dead a few days later.
Oof.
Joe feels that he killed Brian Wilson, I would actually say that I, in this scenario, Joe, have that on my conscience.
Yeah, I think he kind of took the
heat.
he took the sides from you in the hood.
One day I'm listening to Jimmy Buffett on the way to the Cape, stuck in major traffic, and I'm like, man, Buffett. Woke up that next day, dead.
Really? So this is a regular occurrence for you.
You know who didn't die?
Because Joe was the only person listening to Jimmy Buffett on a summer day.
There was a guy that, and I can't remember who it was, but I mentioned that they were still alive at 91, and then I found out that there was a fire, but they rescued him. And I went, oh, boy, I got lucky on this one.
When we go to break, I got a short list of names that I'd really like you to focus on.
I used to do a death pool. Me and my friends used to bet on a death pool every year.
Sure.
Some guys have hit. I don't know. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I was going to say I wouldn't want to. It's karmically not a great thing
not
to
cool.
do. Yeah.
Really not cool at all.
No.
But anyways, that's my phone is I need to get rid of stuff because of old bits that we've done in the past. We were supposed to talk about the Celtics here.
Buddy, we got a whole 2.5 hours left. I'm sure we can talk about the Celtics.
Who's the best American rock band in your opinion?
Again, are we coming at this from a layperson's standpoint?
Family Feud, top 5 answers.
Honestly, I would put the Beach Boys in the top 5. And even though I'm not a fan, he is. You got to put Springsteen in the conversation.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, seriously, like
right,
all-time great American songwriter. Still does it live, and is another one of those artists that is universally beloved. I am of the minority, and I don't hate Bruce Springsteen. It's just not for me. But he is. It's very difficult to find an artist that's universally beloved across generations, and that is Springsteen. Tom Petty,
no doubt,
is another one that
Petty's
I would probably put in the top 5.
The Eagles,
all-time great. That's another good one. All-time great American rock.
I said
bands.
Aerosmith.
Yeah.
I don't know that they make the top 5.
Wow.
I don't know that they do. I have a whole take on 70s rock anyway that I believe the great arena album rock radio acts of the 70s are overrated, because I feel like at that point in time, people didn't have the means by which to discover more music or to choose more music. So I think bands like Aerosmith and Led Zeppelin are overvalued. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not even saying they're overrated. I just think they're overvalued.
Okay.
Zeppelin. And I don't like them. So
Zeppelin
that plays into it
overvalued
as well. Yes, overvalued.
Again, we're the greatest British rock band of all time.
Sneaky good take there.
Thank you. Again,
sneaky good.
I'm not
and
saying
I like Zeppelin.
Yes.
But if overplayed,
absolutely. Take it from me, the guy who programs a rock radio station that no one can find or listen to.
You think Led Zeppelin is more overplayed than the Rolling Stones?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. No. I originally want to say yes, but I'm going to say no, and I'll tell you why. Is because the Rolling Stones get play across more radio formats and styles of playlists on streaming than Led Zeppelin
What about the
does.
Who?
I think the Who's is the greatest 70s rock band of all. If we're talking about that era, it's either the Who or AC/DC. But I'm like Hardy. I'm a big Who fan. You know, when people would back in the day, they'd go Beatles or Stones. I'd say the Who.
That's the right answer.
Over both of them.
I sat next to Matt McCarthy at a Who concert.
Oh, really?
Joe and I somehow managed to sit next to each other at Fenway Park.
That
which honestly was a
wait.
was
And
a
you didn't
miracle.
plan it?
No, we did not plan it.
So you both separately got tickets to see.
Oh no,
we were invited together.
We knew we were
I
going
see.
together.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I misunderstood.
But Matt's 6'6" and I'm 6'3" wide, so we sat next to each other and we fit.
You guys both did pretty well when we did the Battle Royale a few weeks ago, a couple months ago on the show. We had to pick our teams, and we figured we're gonna have the Sports Hub Battle Royale, and
as in who would win in a fight.
Who would win in a fight? Exactly.
Who took me because they made a bad choice.
I think it was Hardy. Yeah. Beaton remembers. To go back and check the records on that, but your height and your reach were definitely part of the equation.
You can't teach height, but you also can't teach heart, and I have none of that. And I would definitely turtle.
I mean, Joe Murray's been on record as kicking ass.
I would not want to fight Joe.
I don't want to. I don't want to fight anymore.
No,
but you used to fight. You used to go down to the bridge and fight kids from Dedham.
That's right.
Yeah, I was not Joe. I was not. doing that in Carver.
Yes.
I was not going down to the bogs and fighting kids.
Definitely got into a fight outside of Coogan's, and the sausage guy got in on it as well.
Coogan's. Oof.
Finish him.
You don't want to be there.
Well, you know when you get in a street meet?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but we were outnumbered. They jumped on me. I fought him off.
Yeah.
And the sausage guy felt bad for me.
He give you a little free.
He helped me out.
Yeah.
And freed me up.
All right.
And we won. And they ran.
Coogan's.
Then I got some street meat. And I walked home.
Can't think of the last time I was at Coogan's. Taking me back.
You know who I so sneaky don't want to mess with?
Milliken.
Jay Stu.
No.
Oh, yeah, no. He'll put you in the gotcha hole.
no.
He's 6'5".
Yep.
Yeah.
But he's nasty.
He's like 240-ish.
He'd fight dirty.
Yeah.
And he knows like positions.
Yeah.
It's he'll give you the eye poke too.
He's got the mental edge too.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Oh yeah.
He'll fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll fight and he'll get in your head about it.
He will. All right. Well, we're just all over the place. But I like this. This is fun. We're amongst friends.
I might be in the room with you, but I'm the producer. We just killed a segment, and I'm the happiest I've ever been.
Well, I thought it was informative. We talked about the Beach Boys killing, and then we got into Mortal Kombat and fights.
So there was definitely a thread.
I liked where it was.
A lot of death talk.
Yeah.
Can we talk about this gambling thing, if you don't mind?
We can talk about
the
it.
Malik Beasley story.
Joe, we can talk about whatever you want.
Yeah,
You're
we
over
should.
there.
Well,
this is your show.
I have a take.
All right.
And something smells. It's very smelly. And I think we should talk about it. So let's get the headlines here with Matt McCarthy. He'll tell you the big signings that are happening all over the world here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
NHL free agency beginning tomorrow, and the Bruins making a move last night, extending Morgan Geeky 6 years, $5.5 million. Bees also said to be interested in a reunion with Brad Marchand, Panthers and Maple Leafs, reportedly in the Marchand hunt as well, according to Pierre LeBrun. NBA free agency begins tonight at 6 o'clock. The Celtics have exercised their team option on J.D. Davison. DeAndre Ayton will become a free agent after a buyout in Portland. The Rockets have signed Jabari Smith to a 5-year, $122 million contract extension. James Harden staying with the Clippers, 2 years, $81 million. Red Sox lost the Blue Jays 5-3 yesterday. Walker Buehler tagged for 4 runs in 4 innings. Terry Francona and the Reds come to town tonight. And the U.S. men's national team beat Costa Rica on penalty kicks last night to advance to the Gold Cup semifinal. Headlines are brought to you by Oakers Technologies. This summer, do what schools across New England are doing and upgrade your classrooms with TouchView interactive display panels with Google Play for the upcoming year. Order today at touchview.com. I'm Matt McCarthy on Boston's Home for Sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub, your next update in 30 minutes.
Stay tuned for more Toucher and Hardy.
this week. So we'll be on mornings all week long. I know Matt is moving to the afternoon later on in the week.
Thursday.
Baseball hour, boy.
Okay,
right.
so you're here through Wednesday. Oh, that's right, because we have Andrew Callahan in on Thursday.
Who I love.
Love
by the way.
Andrew Callahan.
And
Really good.
I know he's a writer, but I think he's good for radio.
He is.
You know, like some of the writers are good at writing and spots and stuff like that. He's very good.
Well, you know the story now. I mean, he was a contributor during the football season on this show and came correct with a bit first time he came in, second time he came in. And now it's grown into this weekly thing.
Two stats,
one lie. Yeah.
I know that.
Absolutely. Got 18 different intros for it. It's great.
I heard a lot of singing from Nick.
Yes.
2 stats.
We
one
do
lie.
love that.
Talk about stats and lies. Malik Beasley under federal investigation over gambling allegations. Now, for those who don't know who Malik Beasley is, plays for the Pistons, was challenging Peyton Pritchard for 6th Man of the Year. Second in the NBA in 3-pointers made. It's pretty good, right? Averages about 16 points a game, comes off the bench. The other things you might not know about him is just a few years ago, he had a gun charge and went to jail and had 3 years probation. There's a lot going on in the NBA when it comes to gambling allegations. We all know about Giannis Porter. Got sent away. He's done. Banned from the league. Terry Rozier, who, by the way, do I have to remind you of a Game 7 against the Cavs where he went 0 for 11 from 3?
Scary, Terry.
I've done my own investigation.
Joe, were you harmed?
Suspect.
Were you harmed by that performance, Joe?
Yes. We all thought the Cavs were going to win. I didn't think Jeff Green was going to become alive. It wasn't LeBron that beat the Celtics that day. It was
Jeff Green.
It was Jeff Green. But absolutely suspect, Terry Rozier. And he's still under investigation. But this Malik Beasley, guys, I've done my own investigation.
Have you been harmed by Malik Beasley, Joe?
Smelly. I'll give you an example. 7, down 9. 7-point underdogs. 5 seconds left in the game. Inbound to Malik Beasley. Coast to coast layup. Cover. I've done my own investigation. He's guilty. Guilty.
Joe Murray, federal prosecutor.
Where I'm really going with this is we're now getting a player that is close to being semi-all-star. Potential six man of the year. I'm just wondering who's next. We've already had the Ohtani stuff, Matt, if we're going into another sport. Who was clean, right? Completely
no
clean.
doubt. Yeah, definitely clean. Don't you dare, Joe.
Don't
you dare.
Smelly. No issues at all on Ohtani.
Don't suggest. Nope.
Does Malik Beasley have a translator by any chance? No? No? Personal assistant, perhaps, that he could?
No, he's on probation. I'm sure he has a probation officer.
I don't think that's going to be much help in this.
So I don't know how in federal investigations work with probation. I don't know.
Here's what I would tell you, Joe, about federal investigations. I worked with a guy in radio many years ago who, let's just say his dad was connected. As he used to say, when the local cops knock on your door, it'll be all right.
No.
When the feds knock on your door, daddy's going away for a little while.
I've heard that before.
The feds are knocking on his door. Bye-bye.
Well, just so we know, free agency opens today. He's unrestricted.
Oh, he's going to be restricted soon, all right.
I mean, I'm just wondering who's next.
Well, there was this report comes from right before we went on the air this morning. But yeah, he had a deal in place, 3 years, $42 million to stay with the Detroit Pistons, and that is now on hold.
Oh, it's on hold. I did not know that.
Yeah, I'm looking at this from one of the Detroit news outlets from just about 3 hours ago.
He's a good player.
On hold. He's fantastic. He's a big part of the reason. What did they won 30 more games this season than they did season prior, and they made it into the playoffs. And
this impacts the Pistons. This is a gambling story. This is really where we're at,
of course.
But if we're talking about the game of basketball and the East being wide open, the Pistons might have just lost one of their best scorers. I don't even know if they've lost him. If you're under investigation, you can still play, I assume. But is he
all this says is his deal is on hold.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Could they put him on some list? I don't know. I'm just saying this is not what the Pistons need.
He's a free agent, so you're not going to sign him and then put him on a list.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They offered him a deal, and now
he's
it's
not
on
getting
hold.
that. Oh, he won't be back there this year.
But we're seeing this now in sports. Like Calvin Ridley did bet. He bet parlays. I know it's football, but he got in trouble. You asked a question in our email, Matt. You can ask it. Ask it. Go ahead. Just ask it.
Are you okay with players gambling on themselves?
So, have you guys seen
Yes or no? Are you okay, Joe, with players gambling on themselves?
To be consistent, no. Have you seen Uncut Gems?
I have not.
So, Uncut Gems, Adam Sandler movie, but Kevin Garnett's in it.
Right.
And he's a big gambler, Sandler, and he goes, "Hey, KG, your rebound number is 7.5 tonight." And KG's like, "That's too low. I'm going to have 13." And so he bet the over, and he won. So I think players know their numbers.
Of course they do.
I think fantasy players know, like, hey, I have 81 yards of rushing today. So, like, they can't bet on them. I think that's what this whole agreement is with all the team, right? Should they know? No, Matt. They shouldn't, but I think they know about it.
Yep. But they should not be able to gamble on their own player props.
But do you think they want to be incentivized if they go over their number?
Yes, of course. I can understand why a player says, hey, I can control whether or not I get over 4.5 rebounds or under. It's easier. It's way easier to control the under, isn't it? I'm just not going to crash the boards. Ball's not going to come to me. So are you okay with that? I think a lot of fans are. I've heard from people who have said, well, I don't mind. What, he bet on himself to get a hit. That's a good thing. He believes in himself. Can't do it. Can't do it because you're going to change the way the game is played. What happens if you then don't bet on yourself to win the game? The whole Pete Rose, but he only bet on his team to win. What about the days where he didn't bet his team to win?
I'm out on the Pete Rose one. There are guys whose careers were ruined because of his moves.
Yep.
Jose Rio was like this young up-and-comer, and who knows what he did, So the Pete Rose thing, by the way, he is eligible, Pete Rose. I think it's Veterans Committee, right? He'll be on the ballot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pete Rose and the guys from the Black Sox, 1919 Black Sox.
I wonder if they're going to be consistent on that. I know this is a different discussion of gambling, but at some point, I think we're going to find out someone in the past gambled. Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan. I'm just speculating. But we're going to get a big name. If they're investigating, we're going to get a big name. And Beasley's big. It's not Ohtani big.
No, but it's big.
It's a big name, and there's a gambling problem in the NBA, guys. Did you know that? Should we be surprised by any of this?
No, of course not. And you do open this up. I mean, listen, the leagues are in bed with the sports books and the gambling entities. I get that. I understand that, and it's readily available. So this is not the last gambling story we're going to hear. I just think a lot of fans say, "Oh, I'm fine with it, so long as you're just betting on yourself." Opens up a can of worms. You don't want to go down that road. Just don't gamble on your props. Don't gamble on the game. Period. End of story. It's not that hard.
It's competition, Matt, though. I got to get that over. Got to go over those numbers, or you're going to get trolled on social media. You ever notice that guys are like, "Hey, I'm sorry, fantasy guys, that I didn't hit my number." It is interesting. Maybe they should be incentivized. Maybe it should be a per game bonus. You go over your number. Maybe how'd that work for the collective bargaining agreement, huh? Hey, can we add a little of this? Anyways, I watched a documentary this weekend. It's kind of a stupid one, but it was about poop. I think we all like.
Well, it
farts
will fit
and
well
poop.
on this show.
Exactly. I think that it would fit very well. So we will talk about that coming up next. We got a couple more hours to go here. Good morning to everybody. I'm Joe Murray. Matt McCarthy's here. Adam 12. We're in for the guys here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Toucher and Hardy on the way on the Sport.
Bruins made a couple of moves last night. The big one extending Morgan Geeky, 6 years, $5.5 million. He stays in Boston. Steve Conroy of the Herald also reporting that John Beecher will be back in a Bruins uniform. Pierre LeBrun, meanwhile, saying the Bruins, Panthers, and Maple Leafs are interested in Brad Marchand services should he hit free agency tomorrow. NBA free agency beginning tonight, 6 o'clock. Celtics exercised their option on J.D. Davison yesterday. Elsewhere, the Rockets have signed Jabari Smith to a 5-year contract extension worth $122 million. DeAndre Ayton will become a free agent after a buyout in Portland. James Harden staying with the Clippers, 2 years, $81 million. Red Sox lost the Blue Jays 5-3 yesterday. Walker Buehler tagged for 4 runs in 4 innings. Terry Francona and the Reds come to town tonight. Underway, day 1 at Wimbledon this morning. And the U.S. men's national team beat Costa Rica on penalty kicks last night to advance to the Gold Cup semifinal. Headlines are brought to you by Premier Basement Waterproofing. Buying home or finishing your basement, do what Beetle did. Get it waterproof first so you never see a drop of water again. At 844-LIVE-DRY or premierbasement.net. It's game over for water. I'm Matt McCarthy on Boston's Home for Sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub, your next update in 30 minutes.
New England plays here.
Ball down the right side. There's a separation. Yes. Touchdown pass. Yes. Perfect dive from Drake May.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Fred, what's it like to work with Hardy and Wallace?
What a golden ticket I've gotten.
There you have it. Toucher and Hardy resumes on the Sports Hub.
Me neither. It's what I experienced this past weekend.
Yeah.
You used to push
you wanted
the
the
button.
CD player for the new Springsteen.
I didn't want 12. I
needed it.
I needed.
And you didn't have it.
Change the disc. I need a good old-fashioned 10 CD changer.
And the trunk.
Yep.
Yeah, well, we got to swap out the CDs.
Yep.
Who wants what?
Right,
okay,
pull
we're
over.
putting in this. We're putting in that. We're taking that out. This one's coming out of rotation for a little while.
All right,
Trunk.
We're doing a bit. I watched a thing this weekend. It was on Netflix. You know how they give you what to watch?
Yeah.
So it was
what was in your algorithm?
It was
Joe?
called Trainwrecked. And it was about people being stuck on a cruise. And the lights went out, the power went out, and oh boy, they had themselves a poop situation. So, Ryan Beaton, why don't you unleash the fury?
Good afternoon. Welcome on board the beautiful Triumph.
We just love going on cruises. The food, the pool, the water slide. I mean, what more could you ask?
I don't mean to ask you to stop this, Beaton. Could you stop? Out already. Out on this cruise with that guy.
It's
out.
It's a boat called the Triumph. 4,000 people on a cruise ship.
Out.
With pools and food and drinks. 4,000 people on a boat.
You know what I like about going on vacation? Being away from people.
Well, let's continue on because everybody was really happy at the beginning of this.
The food, the pool, the water slide. I mean, what more could you ask?
This was absolutely the bachelorette party that I had dreamed of.
We were like, this is awesome. And then the lights go out.
Attention. Alpha team.
Oh my God.
Now, real quick, if you're on a boat and you hear, attention, alpha team, what are you thinking?
I'm going to die. It's over. We're screwed. See you later.
Have you guys been on a cruise?
No.
Nope. Me either.
Never will.
I don't think, after watching this, I'm not going.
I didn't even need to know about this
I feel like Nick's a cruise guy, no? No?
I could see Nick. No, yeah, I mean, no. Well, although, you know what? Nick does have a 2-year-old at home, so give that another year once we get. They say terrible twos, but it's not. It's when the kid turns 3, they turn into a demon. So let's check in with Nick in about a year and see if he's taken any vacation that'll come his way to get away from that kid for a little while.
Ryan's a Plymouth guy, so yeah, I know you've been on boats.
I actually did just go on a cruise.
That's right.
Whoa.
You went on a cruise in May.
Yeah.
Last month.
It was with my family, and I was just telling the guys back here, I think it's like the boat's great, the service is great. It's cool going to different places. The worst part about cruising is the other people you're with.
Yep. That's exactly right. That's why I will never do it.
See, like, I've done a lot of resorts, like, vacation resort.
Yeah.
I love the people we're with because, You don't know them from somewhere else. They're like, hey, meet us at the, this later. Okay, cool. But you can at least get away from them.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
That's also very much your personality. That's very much Joe's personality. Is he wants to get out and see people and talk to people and get to know people.
It's the entrapment. That's the problem. Out on the entrapment. Because I, too, enjoy, I like to get away from people. I want to have the option to get away from people.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to be on the same boat and be like, oh, geez, I don't want to go there because that person's not, that person might be there, or how quickly can I get back to my room and know this person is going to be walking down the hall? Out. Strong out on that.
Well, Matt, the lights just went out. There's 4,000 people, and it's Alpha Team Alert. Alpha Team Alert. Let's
Attention. Alpha Team.
Oh my God.
Alpha Team. Alpha Team.
More than 4,000 people are stuck on a cruise ship that is dead in the water.
That's when all of us were like, what the f?
When power goes, that's it. Everything's out.
It was immediately crisis mode.
The toilets weren't working.
Oh, hang on. Hang on. So just to tell you that everything went out on this ship. There was no steering wheel, no engine. It's just a giant boat in the middle of the ocean with no control, which is probably one of the worst things to happen, right? You're just floating on a big thing. Well, the bathrooms don't work.
The toilets weren't working.
So, there's more to this. I just want you to think about, what would you do? Just start thinking about you're on a ship. Excuse me.
Yep.
Ness.
Thank you. I know. I know. I said ship.
And you gotta.
We got you.
So, I don't like airplanes because I don't fit in the bathrooms. Okay? I'm a big man. Matt, you probably have difficulties in there.
Hate them.
Okay. I've heard stories of Andre the Giant stepping into a mailbag and having to go because he didn't fit.
Right.
That makes sense, right? Step into the bag. So that's what I'm starting. That's the first thing that's popping in my brain is I might have to step in a bag or get a big sheet and just pray.
Man.
So continue on, Ryan, please.
The toilets weren't working. Well, we can do a number one in the shower. And then...
I'm telling you, it got bad fast.
I would never expect having to poop in a red bag. Oh, no. Oh, no. Mm-mm.
No. Suddenly, everyone's out for themselves.
You could hear the panic. We were starting to smell urine.
Oh, my God.
It was terrifying.
We had camera people, crews on boats, a helicopter up in the air.
Fights broke out.
Oh, the ship is on fire.
What the is happening on this cruise ship?
It's like shantytown.
Hold on for a second. I just need to... The ship is on fire. Are they speaking figuratively, as in everybody's pooping and peeing everywhere, or the ship is literally on fire?
The ship is literally on fire?
Oh, my.
You know why?
Why?
Poop. The poop and the backup made a fire.
My stars.
And what's funny is the cook saw steam coming through the sink. That's not steam, sir.
Oh, no.
I would never expect having to poop in a red bag.
So they went on the air. I watched this thing. I watched it. The captain and this commander girl are like, well, just tell everybody to pee in the shower, and we're going to pass out bags that you could poop in. Smelly. So... we're out on a cruise ship.
Yeah, I'm not interested.
You're gonna watch this because it was a dumpster fire of poop. And
a literal fire, as you just pointed out. Yes.
So go watch the show. But this brings up a question for you guys. I think I've done a bit before where it's destination poop spots. I have mine. You guys might. I've shared mine off the air.
That's right. It's one I was not expecting,
but
and I'm grateful to know about. Thank you.
Yes,
real ace in the hole there.
Yeah.
So I know I need to pull a lever. I know where to go. Have you ever had to poop not on a toilet?
Never, not once. Never, not once, Joe. I have a strong constitution over here.
Yeah. I just the only example I can think of is camping. And I think I only had to do the outdoor poop camping once because the other times I was camping, you had access to an outhouse or a bathroom that you could go to. But sometimes, you're out in the wilderness and you can't. So, there's protocol. You dig and take care of your business and cover up and all that stuff. But not in a red plastic bag, which I assume they were collecting after one use, or is this your bag to use?
They had a disposable area.
Oh, I see.
That might have gone on fire.
Which would make sense, right?
Okay. Who's the person in charge of bringing the bags down there? That's what I want.
There's no power, so who's really where? By the way, one of the girls was banging a chef when the Team Alpha was happening, and the guy got a call. So, where were the priorities on this boat?
Sounds like the Wild West out at sea.
Oh, my God.
So I have never pooped anywhere besides a toilet or my pants.
Yeah, we've all
Dude, I'd poop my pants.
I have.
We've all been there.
No, but listen, if you can't go in a toilet, I'm not going in a bag. So I'm going to go in my pants.
No, I'd still take the bag over. I don't want that experience.
No, the bag sounds preferable.
What about just replacing your pants?
I'm not going to do that. Why would I want to do that?
No, I don't.
Joe, I'm 6'6". I found pants that fit me. I'm not pooping in them.
I don't want that sensation ever again. I've had it happen.
Well, listen, that's my last resort is in my pants. I'm not popping and squatting.
I'm out on pooping my pants. Thank you,
dude. I'd poop my pants.
No, I mean,
Joe Murray in.
I respect your decision, Joe. I disagree with it.
I would red bag, pants.
Red bag any day of the
week.
Poop. Yeah.
Listen, a lot can go wrong with that red bag, and it was pink.
A lot can go wrong in your
bag
pants.
Of poo.
Listen,
pink bag of poo.
Pants. It's absolutely going to end up on your body.
Yeah.
Red bag. It might, but it probably won't unless you're really screwing up.
Do you step into the bag? How does this work?
Oh, we got to be careful about how we discuss this, I think. The logistics of where the bag goes. All right, let me ask you this. What did they talk about it on this Netflix documentary of how people were using the bag, or did they just talk about that they used the bags?
They didn't want people going over the railing was the big thing.
Which makes sense.
Which people were doing.
Of course they were. Yeah, that just sounds like a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. There's an interesting side story to this that I wanted to share. So one of the people in the documentary is, let me just make Jamie Lamb, okay? She is a freelance journalist, okay? And she's on a bachelorette party.
Yeah, there are three of them are talking on the documentary.
Sure. So she, at the time, she is a budding freelance journalist, and one of her dreams was to write an article for GQ magazine. Mm-hmm. She had pitched them on an article. Now, again, she's now out on this doomed cruise in the middle of the ocean, no power, no cell phone service. So she ends up inadvertently ghosting GQ, would have had an opportunity to profile Michael Jordan in GQ magazine.
Wow.
Instead, she ends up writing about her poop experience.
Pooping in a red bag on a doomed cruise ship.
Which, honestly, better story.
And just so you know, we have discussed both Michael Jordan and poo this morning.
Yes, and here's where they come together. Is in this particular segment about the Netflix documentary. What's it called again, Joe? It
is called
Poop Ship?
Train
Wreck.
Poop Cruise. True story.
It's a confusing title. There's nothing to do with trains.
Involved.
You could have found a more descriptive word than train wreck that would have served that purpose, but had to do with, sinking ship poop cruise or something like that.
So you guys are out on pooping your pants.
Yeah, strong out.
And I am
in on. Yeah, no, I'd say in. You were in.
Okay. Ryan, in or out on pooping your pants?
I'm going to have to go out on this one.
Nick.
Well, here's a man who's had.
I think
he's had some run-ins with this.
I think if I recall, and if it's come up on the show a couple of times.
He was found in his own fecal
Yes,
matter.
that's the story. Thank you. I don't know.
So in that moment, he was
regular listeners are So whether Nick is in or out is besides the point. He's been
there.
And been in a spectacular way.
How have we not?
He hopefully will never be in again.
We have a subject matter expert on this. How have we not brought him in here?
Right.
This honestly, 12. You know how I said I was kind of in on you, producer, co-host?
Yeah, I've really dropped the ball on this.
Real kind of producer moment.
I was literally in my deathbed. That was my excuse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you did it.
So he doesn't really get the choice when it comes down to it.
No, but he was in.
Yes,
you were in on
he
this.
was in.
You were in.
Technically, he was in. Yes.
It wasn't like I was tee-hee-hee. I'm going to do this right now.
Nicholas, your body made that choice.
Yes.
So therefore, just say it, you were in. You were in on it.
At the time, unfortunately, in.
Yes.
The reason why I'm laughing so hard is I walked into that. Yeah. How did I not talk to the poop expert?
Right. No, this segment really radio failure.
Good
I
on
think.
Matt McCarthy for kick saving it at the end there. Because imagine if we'd gotten through all of it without.
I'm belly laughing that I have a cramp.
Look at you. Your eyes are watering.
I'm watering because that was hilarious.
Yeah, that was funny.
And I think our listeners loved it too. What do you think Connor Ryan would do?
Oh, we're going to find out.
He'd go in the bag.
So I am curious about what our listeners would do. Well, we can table this. But I am curious because I think the pants is better than the bag.
That's such a bad take, Joe.
We'll ask Connor Ryan what he thinks. And on hockey. We'll do that next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Dude, I'd poop my pants. You're listening to Touch.
98.5 The Sports Hub. Everybody's happy about the Bruins this weekend. I think Matt and I are on the same page. I think we're all happy with the auto pick, though.
Good pick. Strong.
Well, let's bring in Connor Ryan. Covers the Bruins, Boston Globe. Joins us here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Connor, you're on with Joe Murray, Matt McCarthy, and Adam 12. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. How you guys doing?
Well, Connor, Morgan Geeky is signed. Sounds like Beecher's next. Everyone's happy about the draft. Should Bruins fans be excited or still question Don Sweeney after the weekend?
Well, I think you have to figure out what the Bruins are going to end up doing once you get past this week and the start of free agency on Tuesday. I agree that I think Bruins fans, for now, have to be happy with the fact that I think you landed a really elite prospect in James Higgins, a guy who kind of fell into your lap there when you look at the concerns about his size. Yeah. Were maybe talent evaluators expecting him to have maybe a takeover season at Boston College the same way that someone like Jack Eichel did at BU about 10 years ago? He didn't have that, but he still was a point-per-game player. And I think you look at his body of work, whether it's at the national development team and international competition, that's a guy that, especially if he's there at number 7, you take 10 times over in terms of especially what he represents to this team, which is an elite prospect down the middle, which is the most pressing need that this organization has. So I think that was a great situation for the Bruins having him fall there, but they still have a lot of work to do. There's still a lot of holes in this lineup, a lot of things this team needs to do to are they trying to get back to a playoff spot? I think that might be asking a little bit too much for it now, but I think the main goal for this season has to be at least getting in the right direction and filling out the rest of this roster.
Connor, why did Higgins fall to 7?
So it comes down to a few different things. One is I think there was some concern about the size. He's not the biggest player at 5'11". He has gained a little bit of weight, so he's 5'11", 190 right now. So I think anytime you have a player like that, there's always the concerns, even if they're very skilled with the puck, elite playmaker, how much is that going to get negated a little bit once you get up to the NHL rank? So that's a legitimate concern for a player like that. You always want to see how they handle that level of physicality, kind of the same way with like Matt Poitras, right, who I think is a gifted playmaker, but it's one thing to do it, in junior or in college level, but then when you're going up against guys that are 220 pounds that are, 5-10 years older than you, a little bit of a different challenge. So that's going to be a bit of a hurdle for him. And then it comes down to, I think probably there were just some really high expectations for a player like that. This is a guy who set the U18 tournament record that was previously held by Nikita Kucherov. He had the same scoring total as Patrick Kane at the National Development Program. So he goes into his freshman year at BC. Everyone's expecting him to be this generational type of talent where he's going to have a over 2 point per game type of season. He had a point per game season, which is still, a pretty impressive stat line for a guy that was 17 going on 18. But I think maybe the fact that he was a little bit more of a deferential to some of his other line mates like Ryan Leonard. And then once you add in the size factor, it's almost like I think people start figuring out what led to his kind of slide this past year at BC. So I think there's some valid concerns about that size especially, but I think you look at the skill set and what he provides, especially at where he was at number 7. That's a player you take, and I feel like he's going to go back to BC most likely this upcoming year. He's probably going to be pretty productive, and he could be playing with the Bruins as soon as March. So if that's the type of player you're getting at 7, you take that if you're the Bruins.
Is it the right move for him to go back to BC?
I think so, yeah. He mentioned, after the draft that he'd love to go back, he'd love to make the jump up to the NHL level, but I think you look at the Bruins, I think they've learned their lesson over the last couple of years of maybe accelerating players a year before they're ready. I think you look at Dean Letourneau, the Bruins' first-round pick this past year, who went right from prep up to BC. That's a massive jump there, and he really struggled. I think you look at what James Higgins is going to do this upcoming year at BC. If he's able to go there, put together a 50-point season, and I think the fact that he doesn't have guys like Ryan Leonard and Gabe Perreault, who were his line mates this past year, to really kind of defer to them in situations, I expect a lot more of an assertive year from him. And I think for the Bruins, you want him to, continue to add on some muscle, continue to feel confident about his game. And I expect what most likely is going to happen, he's going to go back to BC, have a really productive year for a very good Eagles team. And yeah, once you kind of get to late March at the end of BC season, I would not be surprised to see him getting a few games at the NHL level here at the very end of the season.
All right, we're talking with Connor Ryan, he of the Boston Globe. The Morgan Geeky contract. What did you project him to be before last season, and is 5.5 an overpay?
Yeah, I don't think anyone really expected that Morgan Geeky was going to be a 33 goal scorer. So it kind of threw the whole projections out of whack a little bit. But I think when you look at what his payout is now, $5.5 million through the next 6 seasons, I think there's probably a lot of sticker shock for a lot of fans. And I think it more has to do with the fact that the way the salary cap is really kind of jumping up the next couple of years. I mean, you look at this past year, the salary cap ceiling was $88 million. This upcoming year, it's $95.5. And it's going to keep on rising. They're projecting right now that once you get to the 2027-28 season, it's going to be $113.5 million. So I think you're going to see a lot of people, especially over maybe the next couple of days, once you see what these free agents get on the open market, people are going to be losing their minds as to what the payouts are. But I think you look at what the Bruins did here with Morgan Geeky and the fact that, let's say maybe he regresses, right? If you don't think he's going to be a 33-goal scorer, which is a valid criticism, right? And you think his shooting percentage dips, let's say he becomes more of a 15-goal, 20-goal, middle six type of player again. Well, guys that have that kind of profile are going to be getting $4.5 million on the open market in the next couple of years. So his deal could end up being pretty reasonable market value if he does regress. And if he is more of a player that can be a 25, 30 goal scorer, being stapled next to David Pastrnak, well, then you might have a steal on your hands there as well. So there's a little bit of a leap, I guess, in terms of the Bruins banking on some of that upside. But I think when you just factor in what the cap is going to be the next couple of years and what a lot of guys with geeky skill set are going to get paid in the next couple of years, I think it's a pretty fair deal for both sides.
Connor, we got into it earlier this morning and would like to get your perspective. In fact, I was scrolling through Boston.com over the weekend, and then I saw you write about it, the Bruins having interest in Brad Marchand, and if it makes sense. We thought there's a couple of angles where it makes sense for Brad Marchand to come back to Boston, but would love to get your perspective on if it makes sense and if you think that it's an actual possibility.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you get to this time of the year, you can never say never with some of these situations. I find that for a situation which Brad Marchand will come back, I think it all comes down to Brad Marchand and his camp kind of deciding what's best for them at this moment, because you look at what led to the Bruins moving on from Brad Marchand and trading him away. A lot of it had to do with the fact that the Bruins wanted to have him. Marchand wanted to stay. They couldn't come to terms on a reasonable deal. And this is a guy in Brad Marchand who, takes a lot of pride in his game. He's a guy that has taken a lot of below market deals and wanted to get paid what he thought he was valued for. I think every player has that right. And you look at what he did this past year with Florida, he's probably validated the fact that he probably is going to get $8.5 million on the open market. So if you're the Bruins and you want to pay that, I'm not sure if that's the right move for a team that kind of ripped off the Band-Aid in March and is trying to, work on this next generation of young players. That I don't know if giving up that much money on, let's say, a 3-4 year deal is the right move for this team. Now, if Marchand at this point wants to come back to Boston, he feels comfortable here, he's won his cup in Florida, and he wants to kind of ride things out, I wouldn't be surprised if he prioritizes that, but he's probably going to have to take another below market value deal. And I think you look at the fact that there is kind of that separation after the trade where you're able to see another situation. You're not just in Boston all this time moving forward. I think that you look at what Marchand's prioritizing, I think he'd have to take a below market value deal to stay here, and I just can't see him really doing that.
Do you think how legitimate do you think the Bruins' interest is in Marchand?
I think they'd love to have him back. It just comes down to what they're willing to pay for it, right? Because I think if, let's say, he was to come back at a $3 million by 3-year contract, where especially look at the way the cap's jumping up, you would take a player like that who's making a great value, who's still a veteran leader, a guy that I think you saw this past postseason. Is he like a top-line franchise player at this stage of his career? Probably not. But if you're able to surround him with more talent, let's say if the Bruins were to sign Nikolai Ehlers or add another scoring winger, and you're able to push Marchand further down the lineup where he can really exploit those matchups, brings a ton of value. It's just, I think the Bruins would love to have him back, but it has to come down to what their terms are, right? Because I think they'd love to have him, but not at what he's probably going to get on the open market if it's a 3-year, $24 million contract.
Would he be the captain if he came back?
I'd imagine. And which, again, you can look at that as also a situation in terms of the Bruins ripping off the Band-Aid where you already kind of moved on from these players. You moved a lot of guys who have been here for a long time, and Charlie Coyle, Brendan Carlo, and you're kind of handing the keys to this next generation of, David Pastrnak, Charlie McAvoy, all those types of players, that it is something where, barring Marchand wanting to come back here on a affordable contract, I do wonder if you're the Bruins, if you think it's better just to, you have the Band-Aid ripped off, move forward with this next group. And there might be some growing pains this year with a pretty young leadership core, but maybe in the long run, that's the best move for all parties involved.
All right, Connor Ryan joining us here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. The draft was horrible to watch. I even think the NBA one was terrible. I did not like the stand-up media thing. It obviously didn't work for the Bruins, which was a little uncomfortable. So we can get into that another day because it's never good. Even their awards ceremonies are horrible.
Painful. It's never good. And you don't want especially in the year 2025 where it feels like a COVID production where it feels like everyone's like behind a video screen. Looks like Zordon from Power Rangers there, like the giant screen in front of you. It's not what you want in 2025, guys.
All right, Connor. We were just talking about a documentary before we had you on. I watched one on Netflix over the weekend. It's called Poop Cruise. It's on Netflix.
Okay.
I don't know if you know about this, but there was a 4,000 passenger cruise that got stranded at sea. And they lost electricity and their plumbing and power.
It's not great.
Their options to go poop were to use a red bag. Mm-hmm. I ask you, man from South Boston, who grew up in Southie, have you ever had an opportunity where you had to use the restroom?
An opportunity.
Not
an opportunity. I don't know if that's the right phrase.
Not in a toilet. And would you use the bag? What would be your option?
I mean, in desperate times call for desperate measures. So I think you got to do what you got to do in that situation. So I'd feel bad if I was on that fateful cruise that you mentioned, and you're put in those perilous circumstances, and then making a documentary making fun of you. I mean, what else do you got to do? I think if I'm in that spot those people are in, you got to do what you got to do. So I have no fault with what those people were facing there.
What would you do?
Oh, the red bag. I mean, what else are you going to do? Yeah, desperate times call for
It's
desperate
funny you
measures.
say that because Joe here has a take on what else you could do.
I think that if you can't poop in a toilet, you poop in your pants.
No. If they're offering you a way out with the red bag, you got to do it. No, like you're on vacation, you're on a cruise.
No,
you just bought new jeans.
That's hell. That's not vacation. That's hell.
Well, no, I'm saying like you can't do it like with your pants because let's say you bought like a nice pair of chinos from like J. Crew on your vacation. You can't do that. It's got to be the red bag there. They're giving you an out.
All right. Well, I guess my take is different than others.
I respect it. It's just I digress.
Matt doesn't respect it.
No need to respect that take. It's a bad take.
Like, what does a goalie do? If he can't get, if
he doesn't play. It's called the Tuukka Rask experience.
If a goalie has
walk
to
right
go,
into that one.
No, for real.
Yeah.
What does a goalie do? He would go in its pants. It's hockey pants. It's just what
That's why hockey players are built differently, Joe.
That's right. Connor Ryan, thank you for joining us. Check him out, Boston Globe. Thank you, Connor, and everybody loves your Boston accent.
Oh, I try. Thanks, guys.
You got it. He's Connor Ryan, everybody. Unpopular opinion over here.
Dude, I'd poop my pants.
You know what? You're sticking with it, though. I respect the fact that you're sticking with the take. You haven't moved from it, so.
I don't think I've ever used, besides my pants, I don't think I've ever not used a toilet.
It's Joe's list of places he's gone to the bathroom. Toilet, pants.
That's it.
Nothing else.
I think that should be it.
It's not an exotic list. It's not a complicated list.
Joe, I think you should stop at just toilet.
Yeah.
You don't need to. You don't need to add that as the second option.
He just doesn't want red plastic bag on the list. He's happy with those two options.
No, he really. That's really what it is. He's dug in on not wanting the bag.
Yeah.
Completely ignoring the fact that the bag is the best choice in this scenario.
Yeah.
Out on the red plastic bag. Not gonna poop in it. Okay, we have In or Out coming up at 9 o'clock today.
Yes.
I was not expecting this.
Oh, expect it all week.
So I am loving this. Matt McCarthy's going to get you caught up in everything in headlines right now. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Bruins signing Morgan Geeky. 6 years. Joe's singing during the break. It's everything you could ever want. Morgan Geeky, a 6-year contract extension, $5.5 million. Elsewhere, Bees closing in on a deal with goalie Michael DiPietro. Steve Conroy saying John Beecher will be back in a Bruins uniform as well. Development camp begins today. First-round pick James Higgins will participate. Pierre LeBrun says the Bruins, Panthers, and Maple Leafs are interested in Brad Marchand. NBA free agency begins at 6 o'clock tonight. Celtics exercise their option on J.D. Davison. DeAndre Ayton will become a free agent after a buyout in Portland. Rockets and Jabari Smith striking a 5-year, $122 million contract extension. James Harden stays with the Clippers 2 years, $81 million. We're underway at Wimbledon. First-round action. Carlos Alcaraz just beginning his tournament as we speak. Red Sox lost the Blue Jays 5-3 yesterday. Terry Francona and the Reds come to town tonight. U.S. men's national team with a win over Costa Rica in the Gold Cup quarterfinals in penalty kicks. Headlines are brought to you by the FM Championship, returning to TPC Boston August 28th through the 31st. Spend Labor Day weekend watching the top LPGA athletes in action live. To buy tickets and learn more, visit fmchampionship.com today. I'm Matt McCarthy on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update in 30 minutes.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Adam 12's here. Matt McCarthy. I'm Joe Murray. LeBron James opted into his contract. It was $52 million, everybody.
Shocking.
And then he said, I'm going to opt in, but you guys stink. Basically, right? Matt?
Yeah, that's the most LeBron thing I've ever heard.
It's
in my
on
life.
brand.
Yep.
The Lakers have a lot of money to spend. And what I mean by that is new ownership's coming in. They're going to spend more. They're not going to cost cut like the Celtics. So I'm wondering if that brings back a little Celtics-Lakers rivalry a bit. Even it up a little because the Celtics gotten ahead a bit. They're going to take a step back and then double down. But I do think that there's a LeBron trade opportunity here. I think Dallas is one of those teams. I think there's a real possibility. The other's Cleveland. I opened this up yesterday in an in or out. Would you be in or out on LeBron James with the Celtics?
Out. At
Me
this
too.
point in his career, out.
Yeah, me too. If
you're cost cutting and you're going to bring in $52 million a year,
right.
LeBron James, out.
You could sell it off.
Out.
Okay, what about Cleveland? In a wide open East, they'd have to give up Evan Mobley, an all-star. Mm-hmm. They still have Donovan Mitchell. They'll give up Garland. I would do that deal for a championship.
Yeah, if you're Cleveland, yeah, of course. Mm-hmm. If you're half of the Eastern Conference, I'd do it. If I'm the Knicks, I'm doing it.
Mm. Cleveland obviously makes the most sense, but geez, the Knicks, can you imagine that? Well, who would they have to make that work? What would that Knicks team look like?
I mean, Bridges, probably, right?
Still, though, contender. And again, in the East, which is up for grabs.
If I'm the New York Knicks, they need a coach. I don't know who that's going to be.
They had a really good one. It's funny you bring that up. They had a really good coach that helped them get to the Eastern Conference Finals. And they said, no, you're fired.
Adam 12, I am locked into the television up there.
What are you looking at?
Do you know what
we
video?
keep MTV Classic on here in the morning. I don't know what the other shows do.
I have been distracted.
Well, it looks like Cisco. It is it's a black gentleman with silver hair, and that is Cisco from the late 90s, early 2000s.
Great thong song.
Is this the thong song? Is this the music video for the thong song?
Correct.
Wow.
I got distracted.
As you should have.
Yes, this is worth being distracted.
I don't know if I've ever seen this video.
There's some great songs. The Macarena. The electric.
Whoa,
come on, Joe.
You can't say there are some great songs and then have the first thing you say be the Macarena.
I meant as like at a club or a dance or a VFW. People do the Macarena. People do the electric slide.
Yes, I know.
People do the doggy.
Then you can say there are some universally understood dance bangers.
Sometimes I am not always direct with what I'm
That's
saying.
okay. I can I'll flesh things out for you. That's fine.
But
we'll work well together.
The thong song, when it comes on,
it's getting bodies moving, is what you're saying.
It's just like big butts, Sir Mix-a-Lot.
There you go.
But
Too bad John Wallach's not here.
I know. He's a big fan.
That's right.
But the thong song, I'm curious how well Cisco did. He was in Drew Hill, if I see the thong song.
This the celebrity net worth, for what it's worth, is saying that he's worth $6 million. He's
it's not a lot.
That's a guy who did not do what he should have with his money.
No, a lot of them. He's 46. He's probably at the point in his career where he's doing like the cruise that that Hardy is hosting next year. Like he'd be like the bottom of that bill.
Sure.
Right. Like or he's touring with bigger acts of that era as like the opener because people want to see him do the thong song, and you're not making enough money to live comfortably off of that. You're having to do other things.
Not to turn the conversation away from the great Cisco, but do you know the meaning of do you know the actual context behind the Macarena? Do you know the lyrics behind Did we do this?
If you go to 985thesportsup.com, I did a whole breakdown of the Macarena. Okay. She's a floozy.
Of course you did.
Oh, yeah, she is.
Los Del Rio was the act that...
But, don't you worry about my boyfriend who's, like, overseas or something.
Gets drafted into the Army.
Yes, and
she cheats on her boyfriend with two friends.
I like floozy. Good.
Oh,
that's
floozy.
Bring that one back. That's good.
Yeah.
That's
a word
it's a little less harsh.
Macarena's, the friends were so fine while her boyfriend was away.
Floozy. That's a term my Nana would use.
Yeah.
May she rest in peace.
Yeah. I like it. Bring that one back.
Dalton's on the line. Hello, Dalton. Dalton.
Hi, how are you? I was calling about the gambling store that you guys had up there and mentioning players betting on themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I just think it becomes a little sketchy if you bet on yourself on the over for basketball specifically. You're up by 4, you're down by 10, and you need 6 more points. You could be forcing some bad shots in there to try to get to your number there. Then baseball, same thing. If you bet on yourself to hit a home run and you got first and second in the 7th inning, base hit would drive in a run, but you're swinging for the fences. I think you could really alter games, and that can go for any sport. Asking for the ball from the quarterback if you're a receiver for receptions in close games, I do not think that should be allowed.
I agree. That's why it's not. But for the folks who say, well, no, it's okay if you bet on yourself, not so fast.
There's gambling in the NBA. Did anybody know that? Is that a surprise to people?
Oh, the NBA. The league that had Tim Donaghy fix a game.
Thank you.
Yeah, the NBA. No, you don't.
Scott Foster was amongst those phone calls.
Many phone calls, as we found out in a federal investigation. Because what happens, gentlemen, as we learned on the show today,
98.5 was it?
90% guilty. 90% of federal defendants plead guilty.
Yes,
it is a very high conviction rate. So what happens when the feds knock on your door, boys?
You're not packing an overnight bag.
Daddy's going away for a while.
You're going away for a long time.
May I just shout out the New England Free Jacks who won 3 straight championships of rugby? Stop emailing me. I love the Free Jacks. I gave them their props yesterday. We're going to do it right now.
Yes.
They get their props. I don't know if Rucker's still with them, but that's who introduced me to the Free Jacks. Bro.
Good dude. Joe Murray, good dude. Hyde Park kid, big Free Jacks guy.
Dude, you got to check out the Food
Oh,
Jacks.
yeah, dude. Head was on a swivel.
Yeah. Food Jacks, rugby, man. Champions, 3-peat.
Yeah, good luck, dude.
Only team in town to win 3.
That hasn't happened in a while.
Since the 60s. So, shout out to the New England Free Jacks of Quincy, the rugby champions for the 3rd year in a row.
Dynasty, baby. Bro.
Could they go for 4?
Dude. They could.
No one's helping you out. You're on your own, dude.
They could, dude. Joe, not only could they will attempt to go for 4.
I wonder what they have for a food truck.
Get Peppy on that.
Oh, yeah. Dom's food truck. Sausages, steak tips.
Goat.
Get a little rice in there. We're doing In or Out next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Yeah, I mean, you were probably on the poser list, dude.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
All right, men.
NHL free agency getting underway tomorrow, and the Bruins getting ahead of it by extending Morgan Geeky last night. 6 years, $5.5 million per year. Also, John Beecher expected to be back in a Bruins uniform. Goalie Michael DiPietro extended by the Bruins as well. Bruins development camp also beginning today. First-round pick James Higgins will participate. Pierre LeBrun reporting that the Bees, Panthers, and Maple Leafs are interested in Brad Marchand. NBA free agency begins tonight at 6 o'clock. The Celtics last night exercised their option on J.D. Davison. Rockets signing Jabari Smith to a 5-year contract extension, $122 million there for Jabari Smith, 5 years, $122. James Harden staying with the Clippers, 2 years, $81 million. DeAndre Ayton will become a free agent after a buyout in Portland. The Red Sox lost the Blue Jays 5-3 yesterday. Walker Buehler tagged for 4 runs in 4 innings. The Reds and Terry Francona come to town tonight. Wimbledon underway. Carlos Alcaraz just starting his match as we speak. And the U.S. men's national team beat Costa Rica on penalty kicks last night to advance to the Gold Cup semifinals. Headlines are brought to you by the new burgers at the 99, like the new bourbon onion burger. Their half-pound, 100% American Angus beef is sure to please. You gotta love the Nines. I'm Matt McCarthy on Boston's Home for Sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub, your next update in 30 minutes.
World famous in or out.
Sometimes current stories, whether they be in sports or popular culture, sometimes just esoteric topics. And we find out, we get into the mind of Joe Murray.
It's a scary place.
It is, but it's also beautiful and exciting.
Well,
And
I
we
also
find
like
out
to
if he's
open it
in or
up
out.
to you as well.
Yes, well, that's the.
I mean, it is my mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you guys have your own minds.
Exactly. And I crafted this list for that reason, because I figure if I run it down, then we can get both of you guys to weigh in on it. It's something I'd like to do every morning this week, because I love the bit. I love, much like Fred Toucher, I am in on the night program with Joe Murray here at 98.5 The Sports Hub. And this is one of the jewels in the crown of the show, if you will. So an opportunity to do it during the morning program.
Well, thank you.
We love Incubus, too.
Yes, we can't get enough Incubus.
So people can join in. I know there's plenty of people on YouTube as well. Just go to YouTube, follow 98.5 The Sports Hub, subscribe, and you can say in or out in the chat.
Yes.
Play along.
We'll start with this. One of the big stories out of the Jeff Bezos wedding takeover of Venice over the weekend, or late last week, whenever it was. I feel like it went on for days. At least the media made it feel that way. Is that Tom Brady was seen dancing with and chatting up the actress Sydney Sweeney. So, are you in or out on a Tom Brady-Sydney Sweeney power couple possibility?
In. Strong in. If it couldn't be Matt McCarthy, I want it to be Tom Brady.
Matt McCarthy, you big Sydney Sweeney guy?
I'm available, and yes, if Sydney is around right now, yes. How could you not be a Sydney Sweeney fan?
Sure.
They were both on Saturday Night Live. One had no pants, the other was a Hooters girl.
Oh, I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of history there.
They can relate to each other. Here's the other thing. 47-27. It's 20 years. What's the over/under on years difference?
Oh, that's a good point. The whole
50 with Bill.
Yeah, you beat me to it.
So I'm saying at least.
About this.
Yes, yeah, I know.
No, we are, Jordan. No,
we certainly are.
I'm in on this because he doesn't want to get married again, and she didn't want to get married. So I think it's perfect.
Perfect rebound for her. It's Tom Brady, as close as you can get to being on her level, right? No, that works. Totally in. But not for a long-term thing, just for a year.
The now. Yeah.
Like an upgrade from Tara Reid.
That's
no
interesting.
doubt.
That's interesting
Huge
too.
upgrade.
The age difference thing. Usually, I'd be out on that. But I feel like it's different when you have people like Tom Brady and Sidney Sweeney who are super famous. Because what's the problem with an age difference, right? Is you got nothing in common, right? What does a 47 and a 27-year-old talk about? Not much, because it's two completely different generations, two completely different backgrounds. And I'm talking about the average Joe and Jane, and they're in that ether, if you will. So,
I agree with you.
So I think in this case, a 47 and a 27-year-old, they could make it work.
We're also missing the great point that Jim Murray made over the weekend. This is Brady beating Belichick again. You have
that's
you
a
have,
good take. I like that.
No,
that's good.
I have Sidney.
I
Sweeney.
got Sidney Sweeney.
Oh, that's a flex.
That's good.
That is a flex.
That's really good.
I never thought of that.
Okay.
In.
Okay. In. So we talked about this story a couple of times this morning. We talked about it during what happened last night. We had Connor Ryan from the Globe on just about a little less than a half an hour ago. And you mentioned it during headlines as well, Matt McCarthy. Pierre LeBrun of The Athletic reporting that several teams, including the Bruins, have interest in talking to Brad Marchand when the market opens tomorrow if he does not sign with the Panthers in the meantime. But what we didn't talk about is what your takes are on this. Are you in, setting aside, the money, this, and, the interest would be here, that, and would his legacy, and are you in, Joe Murray, on a 2025-2026 season with Brad Marchand back on the Boston Bruins?
I'm out.
Okay.
I've seen it. I know what it looks like, and I think they need to move on. They went young. They don't need an old guy who's got 2 cups. I'm out. I'm over the Brad Marchand thing.
Out. $8 million a year for a player who's not going to be the player that he was in Florida here. It makes no sense for the Bruins where they are in their rebuild to bring in a player like Brad Marchand. You will not get that version of him here. Out for a million reasons, but that's the number one.
Can we stick with the Bruins? Because I saw this from our own Ty Anderson over the weekend, and I thought it was interesting, and I wanted to get your take on it. So I figured this would be the right place to put it, in or out. So Ty Anderson posted, honestly, going to be an unpopular opinion. I know. But we collectively got to let go of 2015 at some point. It was blown. It was bleep. But we're all just sort of repeating ourselves, and part of my soul dies every time if someone acts like it's new information to bring up. Like, dog, we know. So are you in or out on forgiving Don Sweeney and the Bruins?
Don't even finish it.
For their disastrous 2015 draft.
1 cup, 50 years. I've had no bags, right? No bag?
Red bag?
No red bags, okay? They have 1 cup in 50 years.
And 49 red bags.
I'm not going to forget, ever. Out.
I'm in on not talking about it incessantly, but I'm out on forgetting it.
Okay.
You can't forget it.
Okay.
And I'm out on forgiving it.
Okay.
They're the ones that brought it up. How am I going to forget about it?
So that's the thing. If they want to bring it up, fair game.
I'm sorry for yelling at 9:11 in the morning.
Don't apologize.
No. I love it. This is what we want to do the segment for.
Don't you ever apologize for being you, Joe.
Apologize,
right.
but I'm not sorry.
That's right. No.
That's the ultimate Joe Murray move.
A little tricky wordplay there. Our own Nick Gimelli, who is producing in the. No, it's not what I'm asking.
Out.
He took in the brand new reunion show in Worcester over the weekend. In fact, I was watching him post about this. Midday co-host Tim McCone suggested a pre-show meal at Armsby Abbey. Joe Murray, are you in or out on the Wormtown Gastropub, Armsby Abbey?
Absolutely. I love Worcester, Massachusetts. I love Worcester. I love the Nancy Chang buffet. I love the market. I could give you a tour of Worcester if you'd like. I believe Tim McCone is a neighbor of that place.
Okay.
On that, I think it's a great area before a show.
Nick, you had something with blue cheese. I'm interested in what was it that you done? Because you didn't post any food pics that I saw.
Well, a few people recommended that place too, and then I was talking to my Mike Hurley, who's also a brand new fan. And he said if I go to that place, Armsby, to get the blue cheese, and I was like, well, that is a weird suggestion, just pointing out like the blue cheese, and we went there.
Like
it was incredible.
So is it? It's just a wedge
like
of
a
blue
cheese plate type of situation.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm in on
delicious.
that. Blue cheese, underrated cheese choice.
Ranch or blue cheese?
Yes, but that which is fine, and I'm blue cheese 100 times out of 100 if it wins. But I'm talking about just a chunk of blue cheese with maybe some crackers to pair it up with. I'm in on that. So many times. I love blue cheese, and I feel like it doesn't get enough love outside of the dressing and the dunking the buffalo wings.
Totally in on all of this. Worcester, top 3 food town in New England.
There's
I think
a lot
like
going on there.
it's right up there. The restaurants in Worcester are outstanding.
The marketplace right next to Polar Park, man.
Sole proprietor.
Oh, I'm a Boynton guy.
I love the Boynton.
And that's
that
what
whole
it is out
stretch.
there. There's a whole
Highland.
there's a battleground out there of food.
Yeah.
Know what I like blue cheese on? No. Sometimes I like a blue cheese butter on my steak.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I like, Ryan, I love myself some butter cake.
Let's stick with food. The Bear, Season 4 debuted at the end of last week to rave reviews, already putting it above what was generally regarded as a lackluster Season 3. Joe Murray and Matt McCarthy, are you in or out on the popular FX drama The Bear?
In. I need a little bit more I need a little bit more, but for the most part, it's been pretty good. I like Joe McHale's role on that as like the evil chef that gives him PTSD. There's a storyline with his brother. I did like the dinner table where Better Call, who's the guy who played? But the guy who plays Better Call Saul was in it. I liked it. And he was the uncle, and it was good.
Bob Odenkirk.
Thank you. I like the show. Does it? Are they forcing it or maybe stretching it a little more? Yes, but overall, I think it's a pretty good series.
Out. I saw the first 2 or 3 episodes, and it just didn't captivate me.
The girl's from Dorchester that's on the show.
Yes,
she's great.
She is great. I am out on the show as well, Matt McCarthy. I'm very persnickety about what television programs I choose to watch because my time is valuable. But I am in on shows that turn things around quickly and that they're hot. People want to watch it. They put a new season out the way it used to be, where you just got a new season every year. I'm in on that. I'm out on these shows that get popular, like Stranger Things, and you got to wait 3-4 years between seasons. It's ridiculous. Stop. All right, more entertainment. Glastonbury 2025 was a riot of big headliners and surprise guests over the weekend. Lorde, Kneecap, St. Vincent, a ton of others performed. Of course, the news last week, our own Boston Calling is taking 2026 off, with Oneida returning in June of 2027. Joe Murray, are you in or out on big outdoor music festivals?
Where am I pooping?
No, seriously, that's the number one question.
I'm in. I'm in. Is it just one night? Is it a multiple night?
3-day outdoor music festival with multiple stages, multiple acts, multiple food options.
Yeah, I'm in.
Drink options.
I'm in. But I don't like going to concerts. I know this is a little different, but I don't like going to concerts where you might see the act on different nights. Like you're talking about seeing one act at a time. Different.
Right.
I'm in, but I have particulars. How about that?
No, it's fine. You've got some caveats.
Yes.
That's the problem with them. There are too many things that I just don't want to deal with. The people, the getting there, the this and that. I love the bathrooms, no doubt. Out on festivals. In on the music, in on concerts. I almost feel dirty saying this because I love going to concerts, but
it's a different experience.
I'm not
Nick going to see his favorite band over the weekend, brand new headline, big room out in Worcester. Yep. It's different than going to a 3-day music festival down at the Harvard Athletic Fields. I'll say this: I'm in, but because I'm a member of the media, and my experience at Boston Calling is much different than if I was just walking through the gates buying a wristband, and I love that experience. I love having the access. I love having a space to go and meet and rub elbows with my media compadres. I love to be able to kind of dip in and see a little bit of this and see a little bit of that. So, again, with you, like you, Joe, caveats. I'm in if it's
I'm in
a certain way.
But I've also done Ozfest in the lawn seats in Mansfield, and that is when they had lawn.
Yes,
they don't have a lawn. What is it now?
They have a lawn.
No, isn't it hay now? I don't know. I haven't been there in a long time. You live over there. Well, you used to, right?
No, I'm still down there.
The
Great Woods.
Ozfest ripped up the ground.
Oh, they ripped up the sod.
Yeah.
They did that at the Wu-Tang show back in the 90s, too.
Yeah. I partaken. Mm-hmm. Lawn seats suck now, though. Well, you couldn't pay me to sit out there.
Never. No. Never again.
The legendary Mel Brooks turns 99 years old over the weekend, and he's rumored to be reprising, well, it's not rumored, he's going to reprise his role as Yogurt in the sequel to the sci-fi satire Spaceballs, and apparently that's coming out in 2026. Joe Murray, Matt McCarthy, are you in or out on sequels to movies that are over 30 years old?
In on this one, though.
Strong out, Joe.
Spaceballs? Now, I understand Joan Rivers, John Candy. Like, there's a lot of people that can't be a part of it. But we're getting Rick Moranis, dude. He's been out for a long time. This is the only time we're ever going to see the guy. So, in on this one. But
the concept.
Let's use Happy Gilmore for an example.
Okay, that's a great one.
I want to see it. I think it will. Is it going to be good? I don't know. So I'm in on it, but there is, like, I don't want Dirty Dancing redone, or what's the one with the other one there? Jake Gyllenhaal was in.
Well, hold on. If you're talking about redoing a movie, remaking a movie is different from doing a sequel.
That sucks. Sequel's 30 years old, though. I'm in on it because of the nostalgia.
Give me the remake any day of the week over the sequel.
So you prefer a remake or a reboot to a sequel?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I give you a good one?
You know what? That's a bolder thing to do. If you take a classic, all right, let's say we're gonna remake Dirty Dancing. You're gonna do that thing over again and try to like that.
Well,
that takes some
twice.
balls.
It hasn't worked.
Oh, I couldn't tell you.
Do you know what I did like? Actually, surprisingly, really kind of liked Cobra Kai.
It was very popular.
It wasn't bad, and it had everybody. Johnny was in it. It had everybody on it. So yeah, I thought that was a pretty good remake.
I'm kind of in your camp on this, Joe. Like, I saw it. Like, it's heartwarming to know that Mel Brooks is almost 100 years old and he's going to go do this silly character again. And I mean, Spaceballs is a classic of that genre. Yeah. I'll sit down. I'll sit down and watch Spaceballs maybe this afternoon because I haven't watched it in a while. But I'm out on the concept of sequels to 30-year-old movies, and I'll tell you why. Because just last week, I know it was out for a while, but I get behind on a lot of this stuff. Just last week, I watched Beetlejuice. I loved Beetlejuice. It was one of my favorite movies growing up. And I went and said, oh, you know what? I haven't watched Beetlejuice yet. And that's a case where they were able to get everybody back because everybody, for the most part, was still around. So disappointing. It just felt so forced and Hollywood and weak, and it just took away a lot of the joy that I had about that original film. And I'm not going to fault Michael Keaton and Winona Ryder for pulling, and Catherine O'Hara for pulling a paycheck. Good for them. They should. Get paid while you can. But just the concept, I feel like more often than not, it's not going to land. So
I was out on that one.
Yeah.
Just like the Dumb and Dumber that came out on that one, too.
Yeah.
Or is it Dumber?
Or Dumb, yeah,
out,
whatever.
No matter what it was. So it's tricky.
It is.
But I'm in on Spaceballs.
Okay.
Rick Moranis only.
Yeah. You know his story, right?
Yeah.
Retired from acting because his wife got sick and passed away, and he said, all right, I'm going to raise my kids.
Good for him.
I mean, an incredible thing to do, and he was a bankable star,
no doubt,
in the 80s. One of the biggest ones.
Yeah, I love the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. He was in Little Giants.
So it's not like he was like, I'm a working actor, I'm going to step away. No, like he was a headliner. He was a marquee star, and said, nope, going to raise my kids. Respect it. So good for him for getting paid, too.
In on that.
That's in or out for today. We'll do it again on tomorrow's show.
Okay.
We'll come up with some more for you. And we'll crowdsource it, too. Matt, if you got some that
I'll workshop some
table.
stuff.
Cool. Right. Great.
So we're going to do the email bit. Don't email me. Who should they email?
12.
Yeah,
because it turns out my email's full.
Oh.
My inbox is full. I just checked, and I can't figure out how to delete it.
Oh, my.
On the phone, it doesn't work.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll be. Well, you know what? You know what?
Tweet at me.
We'll do the email bit, but I think really what we're going to do is revisit something that we were discussing on the program earlier.
Yes,
there's certainly been a lot of feedback.
I was told
doesn't
there
necessarily need to be email, but there's been a lot of feedback on.
Yes, I was told that there might be some production work as well.
Yes,
I like that, having multiple producers and collaboration and communication. This is a different morning show.
It's what we aim for on the Toucher and Hardy program.
I see Nick in the background shaking his head
on the sports.
This is very different. I've
been
like
told
this.
that. I don't have the frame of reference, but I've been told that things are different now than they were.
We have it. There was ideas off the air,
mm-hmm.
and I said, you know what? Let's ask Adam. And he said, you know what? Why don't we do it here and here? Perfect.
Yeah.
It was fantastically collaborated.
Red Sox could use some of that.
You know, if only Gerard Mayo had that. Because they were trying.
Yeah.
It was just the vibes, though. All right, we'll take a quick break. We're here till 10 o'clock. We got the email bit. We got the stack. We're here till then. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Toucher and Hardy. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Men, summertime is here.
Email bit here on 98.5 The Sports Hub for those just tuning in. I'm Joe Murray. I do nights, but I'm on mornings all week long. Matt McCarthy's here. And Adam 12 is out of the booth and in the studio. Come on, rookie.
It's thrown me off completely because we had this giveaway. You can tease it here. We'll do it at the end of this. I'd completely, because usually I'm in there and I'm organizing all this stuff, and I'd completely forgotten about it.
We'll be listening at the end of this segment for a pair of tickets to see Adam Sandler on September 30th.
Yeah.
He makes me cry when he sings the Chris Farley and Norm song.
Oh, that is. He did that on the SNL 50th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was moving. That was a moving moment.
Well, what do you guys get anything for an email? Because I have one.
Okay.
Joe, you put the bag in the toilet, prop it open using the seat, business as usual.
So this is referring back to the documentary you watched over the weekend.
The Poop Cruise.
The Poop Cruise. Train wreck. Weird that they would call it that. Train wreck, the Poop Cruise. It's on Netflix. And, yes, we had a very lengthy discussion about if it's better to use the red bag or if it's better to go in your pants. Joe Murray is in on going in his pants, out on using the red bag. But now, a twist. Now, more information has been revealed via the email bit. Joe Murray, are you moving from your position now that there is a much clearer picture of how the red bag can be utilized?
If I can use the toilet, I prefer to use the toilet.
So this is it, which it's really what this is.
No,
It's just
really,
using the
Joe?
toilet.
You prefer to use the toilet.
Matt, I told you it's the toilet or my pants. There's no other option. There's no pop a squat. All right?
You need to consider other options in this scenario.
I don't know how else to go besides on a toilet.
Joe Murray is not going camping anytime soon.
Oh, I'm a city kid. Do you think I'm going out in the
Hyde Park zone? Joe
there?
Murray is not going up to the Kankamagus Highway to.
Oh, I've
to
been
camp
there.
At,
I love the Woodstock Inn.
Falls.
They got some great butternut squash raviolis up there.
Woodstock Inn's fantastic.
The Woodstock, they got great beer up
Been
there.
there in a long
yeah,
time.
right near Clark's Trading Post.
Lots to do up there.
It's great. They got Diana's Bath over there. If you
Love
wanna go
hiking
for a
there.
little-
Absolutely.
Lincoln's a great little area.
It really is.
They got nice little markets on the street, and they got the Common Man down the road there. Anyways, any other emails? Because if not, we have a production piece.
Yes, please. You can kick to that.
Okay, well, here, everybody. Nick, is this Nick Gemelli's work?
Yeah, Nick over on audio today had some time to put together something nice.
All right, well, this is a collaborated effort of our very own version of the Poop Cruise. Pink bag of poo. I'm not popping and squatting into the pink bag of poo. I'm not squatting into the pink bag of poo. I'm not going in a bag, so I'm going to go in my pants. Pink bag of poo.
I'm out on pooping my pants.
Dude, I'd poop my pants.
That's fantastic.
Well, shout out to Jim Murray, Big Jim.
Big Jim.
Who had pink bag of drugs.
Yes. On the afternoon show.
Which Matt McCarthy and I sang together at one Mike Riley's wedding.
Oh, yeah. That was the time.
How was Mike Riley's wedding? I'm
Wedding
so
of the-
happy
wedding
for,
of the summer.
I'm so happy for Sarge.
It was awesome. There's no other way to say it.
Do you know what I did that was kind of funny, and I never really had a chance to do it, but they had Pat the Patriot there. Of course, right? Mike's the voice of Gillette Stadium.
So he had the mascot.
He had the mascot and
That's so on brand.
What's the Revs
slide?
Slide.
Yes.
Okay. Well, a man with a mascot head and full shoulder pads.
Yeah.
So I'm at the wedding and I'm like, I haven't just gone up to somebody and rammed shoulder pads in a long time. I played ball. So guys fire you up. I was hitting the crap out of the Pat the Patriots shoulder pads. I feel bad for him, but I felt like when in Rome.
I'm sure you're not the first person to do that to Pat the Patriot, the mascot. I'm sure.
Remember he got laid out at the Pro Bowl, didn't he?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Excellent.
But I mean, I couldn't get enough of the shoulder pads. But yes, we were on Matt and I were on a dance floor. I got Andy Wong onto the dance floor and we did jump around.
Oh, House of Pain.
And he goes, and then it was the bride's birthday the night before, and so they played "Go Shorty" at your birthday, and Andy's like, "I love this song," so I was dancing with Andy Wong and Matt McCarthy and Sarge on a dance floor to jump around and it's your birthday.
That's
It
so
was time.
pure. That's so pure. I love that.
It was the wedding of the summer.
The only thing that could be more on brand, please tell me that the Kowloon catered the reception.
No.
No? No. Disappointed.
But trust me, I went to Vegas with the crew.
Yes.
Yeah, with
Yes,
Mike
we know
for
about that.
for his he went on his own bachelor party as well, but yeah, it's going to be in Vegas again next year. I don't know if I got it in me. Vegas always wins. Forget about money. It does take your soul away. It could be the timing. I went for 5 days, which is a bad idea.
It doesn't matter how long you go there for. The last third of the trip, you got to get the hell out of there.
And
it
listen,
takes your soul.
This wasn't when I first went. It was strip clubs, gambling, no sleep.
Yeah,
pool. That was like I was 21. I didn't know what I was doing. But then when you go, it's dinner like the Caesars Easter buffet. Oh.
Okay, walk us through that, please.
There was a line to get in the thing. I think it was $140 a person. Whatever, it didn't matter. Every piece of meat you could think of, and different toasts. Any kind of toast, any kind of French toast. They had hash browns, home fries, sausages, a kielbasa, linguiça, like you name it. Any meat you wanted, it had. And it was loaded. It was the best buffet I've ever been to.
Really?
I had to. And you know what? No. Oh, you know what I'm out on? Out. Ready?
Okay.
Time limits at a buffet.
No.
Out. This was a 90-minute. I'm there, right? I'm prime rib, ham, all the sliced goodies. You know what I mean? I'm really in it right now. But a 90-minute time limit, I need to unwind a little bit. I need to get more space in there. So out on time limits at buffets.
They should charge you for the second 90 minutes.
Like a bowling alley, right? When you go to bowling, you pay for the time, right?
Right.
When you're a little bit late, they charge you for that.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Charge me. I'll be there all day. I'm not asking for 3 hours, okay? Can you give me 120 minutes?
Seems fair.
Can I get 2 hours?
Seems doable.
90 minutes for a buffet? Am I asking for too much here?
No, I don't think you are. Because I'm trying to think. So you would need over 90 minutes. You eat for 30. You break for 15 to 20.
Well, don't forget the seconds.
Yeah.
You get the first.
Yeah.
You get the seconds.
You're really only going to have time for first and seconds if you put a proper break in between.
What if I want a little crepe? What if I want some other pastry or something to that degree?
You're going to miss out on dessert.
Yeah.
Is what it's going to boil down to.
Here's the deal. I didn't even do mimosas or drinks or anything.
You were just food, just straight food, no booze.
That should be the choices. If you want the mimosas, bloodies, and the drinks, 90 minutes.
Yeah.
If you're not drinking,
2 hours.
Unfiltered.
Same 2 hours, same price either way. You pay your $1.40.
Correct.
You get in this line if you're drinking. You get this wristband. You get in that line if you're not. You get this wristband. Hey, I got the blue wristband. I get an extra 30 minutes. I'm going up for dessert.
Anyways, you guys like buffets?
I haven't been to a buffet in.
Yeah, I can't think of the last time I was at one.
But I mean, the
obviously. Concept, absolutely,
yes.
Yeah. Why not? As long as it's done right.
Now, people are telling me that eating for 90 minutes is disgusting. I'm not eating for 90 minutes straight, you jerks. Okay? I digest. I take my time.
Nibble.
You know,
Just nibble for 90 minutes.
I want to use my pinky and drink my apple or orange juice.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Get the pinky out.
Yeah.
What if I wanted a coffee at the end?
Yeah.
Or a cappuccino
with your dessert?
I don't know. What if you did want that?
What if they offered me a cigar?
That's a good buffet, huh?
Yeah. The consumption lounges out there, though, that's the best.
What's that? I don't know what that is.
It's essentially a weed lounge.
Oh, okay.
You go, there's a dispensary downstairs, and then you go upstairs, and it's consumption.
There you go. You're allowed to. Do they supply snacks? Or is it just?
They have food
you
too.
Something to eat and
drinks
while you're in
and
there?
smoke.
Okay.
And you can play games. I played Clue.
Oh, in on the original board game Clue. Professor Plum, give me the little purple thing. That's who I am.
Now I will tell you, I bought the Mike Tyson Undisputed, and let's just say I got knocked out. Didn't make it to Fremont Street that night. Hey, be caller number 10 right now to the contest line at 617-931-0985. You score a pair of tickets to Adam Sandler's 30 City Tour, You're My Best Friend courtesy of Live Nation. Tickets on sale now. Visit tdgarden.com or Ticketmaster to grab tickets before they sell out. I know we got the stack coming up next. We'll see what else we missed today here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Pink bag of poo. I'm not popping and squatting into the pink bag of poo. I'm not squatting into the pink bag of poo. I'm not going in a bed, so I'm going to go in my pants. Pink bag of poo.
I'm out on pooping my pants.
Dude, I'd poop my pants.
Well, it's the stack. Is this a sponsored segment?
It is not. So if you would like to sponsor the stack, please go to. It's a great catch-all. We've been doing it on the show for years. It is highly sponsorable.
I believe the stack and the final word are their two longest running segments at the station.
That sounds right. Because they would have both been on their respective shows when the station launched.
What happened last night? Was that original?
I don't know.
That one I don't know. Dig into some of the lore.
The stack has been around for a long time.
Yes, it has. Yeah, because the stack was, I believe the stack was a BCN thing. It was what's in your stack. But no, this is our kind of catch-all to get to all the things during the program that we did not get to. And this was actually something that I took note of earlier, specifically for this. We didn't get back to it in conversation, but I figured if we didn't, that's fine. We can get to it during the stack. And I don't even remember now because it was so long ago how it came up in conversation, Matt McCarthy. But you had said John Lester, not a Hall of Famer.
Correct.
Yeah. I think if this were 30 years ago, you'd be correct. I think in 2025, a guy who won 200 games, had an ERA in the mid-threes, 3.66 lifetime, and pitched in the era that he did, 43.4 WAR. I think he borderline, not first ballot 8, 9, or 10. I can see him getting into the Baseball Hall of Fame.
They are letting guys like Lester in more frequently. The guys that you would say,
it's not a lock,
really
but
good. He's not a lock. I mean, those are the guys who are getting in. The guys who are locks aren't getting in. So maybe that is worthy of reevaluation.
Yeah,
I'll give you that one.
How many players have won a championship with the Red Sox and the Cubs?
You'd have to go back to
David Ross.
Yeah,
John Lester.
Lester, and then like some old timey guy that played for the. When did they win it last? The 1908.
Pops McGillicuddy.
Yeah, exactly. Old Haas Radbourne.
Oh,
one of those old guys that played for the 1908 Cubs and then played for maybe like the 1912 Red Sox.
You ever want to laugh? Just go read Old Haas Radbourne's Wikipedia page.
That old the Wikipedia page is great, but whoever the sports writer was for years there who was impersonating him on Twitter turned him into a character is one of the great. That was like the golden age of Twitter when Twitter was funny and not terrible and a hellscape like it is now. That was one of the highlights. Was whoever it was that was doing the old Haas.
Has a pitcher ever made the Hall of Fame without winning a Cy Young?
Oh yeah.
Mike
Messina.
That was the example I was just about to give.
Yeah,
I'd put John Lester in over Mike Messina.
But both never have won I was just bringing up Cy Young awards.
Lester probably finished maybe
Mike
second.
Messina no World Series too, correct?
No World
because
Series.
he was gone by the time they won in 2009. Didn't he leave like the year before or the year before that? He just missed.
Yep, he got there in 01.
Right after
and left in 08.
Yeah, there you go. So he was in that
He's
2000s
basically
drought.
he's the greatest loser in Yankee history. Him and Don Mattingly. Neither of whom should be in the Hall of Fame. Suck on that, Maz.
Ooh.
As an aside, I would like to give a happy birthday shout-out to Joe Mazzulla of the Boston Celtics. Who
Jimmy Stewart's very happy about that.
Rumor is, and I think I saw him in the building. I'm not sure, but there might be some people who are saying that there is an extension on the horizon. Although Brad Stevens kind of said that multiple years.
The extension might be in the rear view.
It might already be in the rear view, but from what I gather from sources on the ground,
that
there might be something brewing.
Interesting.
You know how you talked about sequels?
Yes.
Did you guys see the family?
Oh yes. Talk about this.
Guys, Fast and the Furious guys?
No,
I am not. I mean, I'm aware of it. I'm not. John Wallach, I don't think there's a bigger fan of the Fast and Furious franchise than our own John Wallach.
Yeah.
He loves the Fast and the Furious and Fast Too Furious and all those Fast Furious movies.
So it sounds like they announced that there's going to be a new Fast and the Furious coming out, Fast and the Furious 11, which, again, it's all about family. But, yeah, Vin Diesel says the final Fast and the Furious movie will return to the car culture in street racing in L.A., and they're going to make another one. And I believe maybe Paul Walker will have some sort of... even though he's dead.
That was the piece that, again, Look, I can't speak as a fan of the movie franchise or even as someone who has seen any of the films in the movie franchise. So I'm coming at it from a different perspective. And that perspective is the man has died. You don't need to create inevitably it's going to be some sort of AI version of him to be in this sequel. It's disrespectful for one. And it's unnecessary for two because this is a very successful movie franchise. You're going to make a lot of money if you put one of these movies out. You don't need that extra little thing to push it over the top, right?
Out on AI dead people, out on hologram dead people.
Yes, the hologram shows. Like,
if you're still alive, can you recut something like, I don't know, South Park with Isaac Hayes and Chef's Return when they,
it's
slaughter him in magnificent fashion?
They do it with music, right? They'll bring a guy in and put the little...
How do you feel about the releases after a guy's dead in music, though? It's like, well, he had this in the can, it's
I'm fine with that.
material.
I'm fine with that. I like that. As long as it's being like sound. You're a grunge guy, Joe Murray. Soundgarden apparently has stuff that they did. It's not finished. Stuff that they did with Chris Cornell before he died.
I love that.
And his estate through his...
Didn't Wu-Tang do something like that? They sent out a CD that couldn't be opened or something?
Oh, that was the one that that weirdo bought
Yes.
and ended up in jail and all that stuff. I can't think of the guy's name. But no, back to the...
I mean, Tupac had songs coming out for years.
I want to hear that. I want to hear the sound, even if it's unfinished, even if it's demo or it's just vocals and guitar. I want to hear that. And
Biggie had a whole album. Remember all the collaborations, Eminem with Dead Wrong or whatever it was? That whole album was
all that
pretty good.
posthumous stuff, yeah. And I believe it is the same case for Tom Petty. And again, it's both the Tom Petty and the Soundgarden examples are, it's the band members or, some faction of the band and then the estate or some faction of the estate or family having to come to terms, because obviously in both of those cases, there's a lot of money to be made if, quote unquote, new music, unreleased music by either of those artists hits the market. A lot of money to be made, so everybody's got to make sure that they get their piece, which I'm fine with. I just want to hear it. I would love to hear Chris Cornell sing again.
Well, my favorite Paul Walker was Lance Harbor from Varsity Blues. Remember, he was the quarterback. He got hurt. Mox came in, the whipped cream bikini. Who could forget? Anything else today, guys?
No.
Do it again tomorrow.
Yes.
Ooh, so they say.
Ass man, huh?
That's how we close the show.
That's why when I went to WrestleCon, I got him and a couple of guys.
He's right there.
There he is.
There he is.
All right, well, thank you, Ryan Beaton, Nick Ciamelli, Matt McCarthy, Adam 12, excellent job.
Thanks.
I'm Joe Mario. We got Zoe. No, Zoe's out. Beetle and Michael Hawley here.
Oh, McBone.
And McBone. All right, we'll talk to everybody tomorrow, 6 a.m. here on the Sports Hub.